So jump the gun there. Welcome
so
to episode 14 of Western Wilds. Ryan, I believe you volunteered for the recap.
Yes, I'm going to give the recap, but I'm going to do it as a guest character.
God, it's going to be Garrett.
Yes, it's going to be Garrett. Let's get that on call.
Yeah, well.
No, I'm going to do it normal.
Go for it.
Okay.
The four pack up the belongings. Valuables of Beauregard D. Fontaine. Their hands now holding the fate of his life. In more ways than one, his story is lame. An old memory shared, the loss of kin. Those close 10 years looking in a desert for them. The pink-haired girl refuses to give in, doggedly determined that they just locked in. A question asked but left unanswered. The danger of the desert and wandering sheriff. Left unknown and mystery unchallenged. A meeting with Jeffrey, a new chapter begins. A diversion to Tombstone, an employee to see. Worry, fear and terror all rolled into one. Two bankers riding their benefactors to meet. A talk of deals, massages and a trap set. Messages and a trap set.
I was going to say, I don't remember.
A talk of deals, massaging the truths and a trap set. How's that?
Sergeant.
Sounds bad.
Oh, yeah.
Nailed it. Recovered it, no one noticed.
Keep going.
A night spent looking for threats, staring at a closed bank, a dusty road. But this night there is no danger to be met, and come to the morning Jeffrey is ready. For an appointment he dreads, and rightly so. A party enters a bank most strange. A ticket machine with only zeros numbered in threes. A teller with no smile, no grace, no face. Directed to corporate and waiting room. A board meeting with no words spoken. At the item 4, a loan is withdrawn. Time is taken back, and a bell will ring no more. A new thing makes its presence known. Not a god born of faith, or a demon born of fear, but something new, born of worry, it's grown. A story yet to be fully told, my dear.
Tight.
I'm glad I didn't have to read that.
Yeah. I don't fucking know how we're going to apportion the what do you call it?
Session inspiration.
Session inspiration. Yeah, I mean,
Sespera.
I don't mind.
you wanna choose, or you wanna take it, or
I'll take it today. I feel like last time I had some very poor rolls.
fair.
I was tempted to ask for it because of where we're going, but then
I think everyone's got business in the city, man. That's part of the difficulty of planning for this session, is that everyone is going to Harlem for something.
Yeah, but mine was more that people are out to get me.
No, yeah.
But I forgot that I've got optical camouflage now.
You do. Yeah. So last session, you guys set off from. You guys set off with Beauregard LaFontaine. But by the way, Mike and I were just giggling to each other with Beauregard D. LaFontaine, because it's definitely D's nuts. Come on.
Just be glad I didn't squeeze in the other moniker that he's received.
Yeah, well, quite.
That's what I was giggling at, because that's what I hear every time.
Go on then. Thank you. Bribery of the DM will not be tolerated and is absolutely successful.
I'm like, no, I'll be good.
Yeah, you guys set off with Beauregard LaFontaine. You met up with the people who'd seen on the road before the mansion got dropped. And there was some Sarbocotl there. You guys had a nice time. And then a couple days onwards, peeling up the outside was young Jeffrey. Young being the operative word. And you got to Tombstone, spent some time in the Red Dragon, and you had an uneventful trip to the bank. And then a large conversation about the events of the uneventful trip to the bank.
Mm-hmm. Jeffrey was uninvented.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. So you guys are travelling. Let me just activate the Volan map for you. So you guys got a couple of days. I'm doing sort of pseudo downtime, discuss with each person kind of what things you're doing. Mm-hmm. You're travelling between Tombstone here and Weaver's Hollow, which is just there. Is that
Yep.
opinion?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can see your mouse. That's close enough.
Fair enough. Yeah, so Weaver's Hollow is where the staging gate is. So in the meantime, let's go around this way. Misty, what have you been up to over these sort of 5 days as you've been travelling?
So I've been poking about with a familiar looking data crystal.
There we go.
I've after about day 2, I think it is, there's noises of excitement which probably indicate that I managed to achieve whatever it was I was doing, and then I've started to work on a modification on the data pad that if you've got hacking tools, haven't you?
Hacking tool.
Or were you proficient in hacking?
You got proficiency in technology.
Oh, technology.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
So the technology skill is sort of more than knowledge. It's like what would like be equivalent to like arcana or nature.
Got ya.
The hacking tools is more like the thieves' tools to the.
Got ya.
Yeah.
I might admit I took proficiency in technology. Possibly I should have taken hacking tools.
Well, you'll eventually.
No, you got both covered.
But
Well, I don't have hacking tools yet.
okay, well, those proficient with technology, I guess, will work out there appears to be some kind of interface hacking device. Those metagaming will know that it's hacking tools.
Hacking tools proficiency, absolutely fine.
And then I think the last thing, but I've started work on something else on the 5th day, but no one can tell what it is yet. Possibly because I don't know what it is yet.
Well, quite.
Yeah.
Augustine.
A lot of thinking, a lot of just sort of lost in thought.
Yeah, reasonable.
A few times you'll notice him sort of like starting, not a letter, but starting like a document in his journal, gives up on it and sort of goes back into thought. He then also is playing with the datapad quite a lot. And for those who have technical devices on them, you'll notice that the frequency of them randomly being pinged by Augustine starts slowing down a little to the point by the time we get to the gates, they've stopped completely and his task is completed.
Perfect. Will, I believe you have a couple of people to chat to. Firstly, your lovely patron, and also Beauregard LaFontaine.
Yes.
Seeking out that sweet gasp membership, huh? So yeah, you are speaking to first of all, Leviathan. Like you guys are sort of, you have that internal communication, so it goes on. So you were looking to speak to Leviathan about what materials would be needed to sort of get Novem in a better shape. Is that right?
Yes. I want to know what I need to track down in order to get. I think the first thing on my list would be to increase the amount of available power, so we can have the entire complex up and running at the same time. So we can have all tents operational,
Shield and
shields
Paytax.
and also so that we can then start expanding into other things without having to sacrifice what we've already got.
Sure. Leviathan will basically categorize it into two places. The physical infrastructure of it, where if you have the infrastructure in place, you can like bioprint or digistruct almost anything, but that requires power. So the one thing you could look to do is get materials for more solar panels. If you could find an original solar generator, that would be the ideal, because anybody who's proficient in tech could interface those in and just have another generator. Those were rare at the end of the war, so you're looking to find somewhere that was not necessarily up and running by the end of the Extinction event.
I kind of figured that a full-on power generator is probably going to be out of my price range.
Even if one exists.
If one even exists, yes. However, the materials with which to make more solar panels, because the current power generator itself, if I remember correctly, does not fully have all of its panels operational.
So you're looking for basically she will give you a list of it's going to be stuff like clear crystal and copper wire, that kind of thing. She can give you basically a laundry list of things that would be materials for repairing, because the world as it stands doesn't currently have the technology level to create a solar panel wholesale.
However, we do have the 3D
But
printer.
you do have the printer in November.
That's something else
So
I want as well. I want to get basically the 3D printer ink.
See, that's a different question, because that's going to be...
I'm looking for both, though.
Yeah. The stuff that's going to be available in Harlan is very much the former, the sort of the repairs to the infrastructure to get what you've got running. That's what you're going to be able to find.
Yeah.
Working with Beauregard, once Leviathan has given you that sort of list of materials to target, basically, that's going to be just like shipment kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to work out what kind of check do you think it would be, like, riddle me this. What kind of check would you like to make to set out some trade deals, etc., kind of thing, or search? What do you think would be appropriate?
In trying to set out a trade deal,
Yeah.
I would say persuasion.
Yeah, I'd say persuasion would be fine. Roll me a persuasion check.
Okay.
There's a certain amount of this is also a bit of a luck check of like whether Beauregard has these contacts, but yeah, feel free.
Oh, God damn it, really? That is a 14.
Okay, 14's not terrible.
I rolled a 6 on the die.
So in terms of what Beauregard has access to, like he has some of his papers and affairs, but they're mostly at the bottom of the bag of holding, and he can. So you don't like succeed in securing any on the way of stuff he directly knows about, but he can certainly point you to the right people in Harlan, in the business district, and in the certainly like the workshop district as well.
That's about what I was expecting.
Fair. Yeah. And in terms of the bioink, the printer stuff, I think you had known before that there are like satellite warehouses. Some of the Fort Morgan.
I don't think I'm going to be asking Beauregard about
This is super much talking to Leviathan about this stuff.
Yeah.
Leviathan will mention that like some of the Fort Morgan way stations you slept in were old warehouse sites, and they are apparently dotted around all over the place. So whether they basically those will be managed by one of the other Immortal sites. She doesn't know the number because that was classified from her, and she doesn't know the location because same reason.
If we can find an untapped one of those
If you
sites,
can find an untapped one of those, that's exactly it. Yeah.
but preferably one where they died quick, so they couldn't use up all the materials.
Yeah. Or actually,
Bit morbid.
many of the warehouse sites were unmanned.
One that wasn't utilised much then.
One that was not utilised or was cut off from the main network. Misty, I think we could just ping back to you. I think Leviathan will basically. Are you using your networked datapad or the private one that you set up away from?
For what purpose?
For the other thing you were working on in the last few days. Would Leviathan have like root access to it, basically?
Ooh. Is it the collaboration project? No, I wouldn't. I'd use my datapad, and then I'd probably then share the findings on the other datapad.
Cool. That's fine. Yeah, no worries. Okay, Lily. These 5 days, what are you got?
So I think 5 of those days are question days.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone can potentially come to Lily and ask.
Oh yes, 5 questions.
Five questions that have to do with a a direction or a place we're going or something along those lines that can be answered with a well or nothing. Or both, technically. So if anyone has any of those, she will open that up to everyone. She's particularly interested in Augustine and their new entity.
Why?
And probably one of the days she's trying to work out a question to ask that would elicit some... But she's like, there's just not enough information there. There's no course of direction she can...
There's also
ask.
no real crossover with the two realms.
There isn't. So the problem Lily has is that she's lived in a very like black and white world for a lot of it. You have the good guys and you have the bad guys, and there are a lot of people in between, but you can usually categorize where they fall on one side or the other. This thing falls smack in the middle, or
off to one side.
or off
On
to
a
one
different
side,
axis.
on
Yeah.
a different axis entirely, and could be potentially very dangerous.
All completely safe, and that's kind of the problem.
That's the problem. It's the unknown nature of it. It's like this is either very bad or not. And at the moment, I'm the one of 4 people who know of its existence,
Yep.
because the rest of your bank presumably doesn't really know of its existence.
We don't know who's been getting letters and has
encountered the board.
Yeah. Again, I've kind of said before, like I have no direct. We don't use magical communication, so it could be that other people have, and I'm just not circulated.
They've gone. This we say
Either
nothing.
their performance really didn't go well either.
Do you have access to the performance league tables? Could you see who's ranked number one?
You wish
and
you
go
had
and
access
speak
to
to
the
them?
performance league tables.
No, so okay. Yeah, so Lily will eventually approach Augustine and say, I don't... That encounter we had in Tombstone, I think I need to understand where on the axis of where fucked do we lie. Do you understand where we lie?
I mean, no.
Oh,
No.
right. That's fair.
I think my assessment is the same as immediately after. We're not in any initial. We've been going. The power has been going for a number of years. This thing has only just started to seep through, at least to me, in the last week.
Alright. Well, I have a question today, but I can't think of a way to ask it. Or of anything to help. I could think of a specific question. There's one question I think I can ask, which is, if we were to directly antagonize this thing, what would be the result?
Whoa.
Whoa, dude!
But the other...
Whoa, dude!
I could ask a more subtle question. What if we were to pay off... If we were to pay off all of these loans, would that cause the entity to move towards us? Would there be a negative outcome from that for us?
I haven't considered terminating a loan.
Presumably you can pay them
Dangerous
off.
precedent.
I would be interested to find out what happens if someone pays off a loan.
Those are the two.
Would you like to take out a loan?
I,
You offered.
I did offer.
Maybe find
before.
someone who's already entrapped
Yeah,
and get them out of it.
yes, I think that's a better solution. And I'd like to
someone
ask...
else to be a guinea pig.
No, I'd like somebody who's already an unwilling guinea pig and doesn't understand the eldritch horror that they have enacted their soul to, and get them out of it and see what occurs. I don't want to, be willingly putting somebody else attached to that wagon.
Do you like highs or lows?
Highs.
I was going to ask if you sold any loans to anyone in Weaver's Hollow.
Your business card is blank. There doesn't appear to be anybody right here who's... Like, this is happening at sort of day 2 or 3, I imagine.
Yeah.
But
So
so you're kind of in the middle of
I
nowhere.
think-
There's no one really nearby.
I think with that, Lily will ask the first question, which is, if we were to pay off one of these loans for somebody else, like,
Would
Yeah,
that, would
it
that
is
even free them?
is well, no, because we don't even need to ask that, because that the action is we're paying off the loan, and then the answer is we owe well or either.
So the action is if we were to find someone and pay their loan off in full,
Yeah.
what would be the... And the answer, wheel,
we
woe,
owe?
wheel
I
and
guess
woe,
Lily
or
is
nothing.
specifically asking about her.
Sorry, can you finish the question? I'm not quite sure what the question
The
is.
question is,
If you pay someone else's loan off, don't.
what happens?
Is that good
So-
or bad?
So you have to
Yeah.
state the course of action. So
Yeah,
the
I
course
get
of
it.
action I'm going to take is...
Find someone.
I'm going to find someone and pay their loan off.
Yeah.
And then
That's
that's...
what happens. So is
within the
open
limit, it's not even what happens. It's this is the action, and then the options are good, bad, both, or neither.
Yeah.
And it's related to the ask.
The action, yeah.
The action, yeah.
The action. So it is the result of
It's
the
a-
action. It's like if you
It's a
have a
weirdly
fork.
specific spell.
If you have a fork in a road, you would say is should I take the left path? That's how you word the question. Should I take the left path? And if you say that, it goes wheel, woe, or neither. If there happens to be bandits down the left path, it goes, ooh, that's probably bad, and gives you a woe.
Okay.
But is that also in? Does it? And I appreciate you might not know the answer to this, but does it also take the alternate into account? So in the left-right scenario, and there's bandits down one, and there's a dragon down the right, and you say the left, will it just say?
No,
I don't know,
it just goes because both can be wheel, or both can be woe.
Right. Okay. So
You just don't know.
yeah. So
It's not exactly a binary thing. Yeah.
no, but.
Those are the limitations of this particular
yeah,
spell,
that's what I was curious about.
Yeah.
So we'd get an answer.
Chocolate, please.
We'd get an answer as to whether this would potentially be beneficial or not if we freed
Yeah.
someone, but we have no idea what that is in comparison to not freeing them.
Yes.
If that makes
So
sense.
so at the moment I'm asking directed towards me. So like if I do this, if I pay off this person's loan,
Is that going to be good, bad, neither, or both for you?
for me, yeah. Doesn't
Gotcha.
necessarily the answer
Okay.
could be different
Oh,
if it was
okay,
different for
I see
Augustine.
where
It's
you're
like,
going with that.
that's where I'm trying to go with, I think, for now.
So that's the question?
That's the question.
Neither.
Okay. Well, I've got nothing. I did hit wheel a few times just to make sure the answer came back.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row now. Yeah.
I mean, there are 20 others of us
Like
getting
broken.
loans. Like the rate of
I could-
increase, like paying off one.
Yes.
Well, there was something else you wanted to do before we got to Weaver's Hollow?
I wanted to look at the papers
How?
of recent events, just to get a feel of what we're heading into. Notable events, big events that might be occurring in Weaver's Hollow, in the stage, or in Hollow itself.
Midsummer Festival's coming up.
Midsummer Festival.
In a few days, probably. That's about it, really. That will probably happen during your travel through the staging. So after you get to Weaver's Hollow, but before you get to the... It's basically like... so the calendar is divided into 302 days. 10 months of 30 days, and then there's a midwinter and a midsummer. It's an extra day without a month. And it's sort of... It's a midsummer festival, basically. It's like your kind of Christmas, Easter kind of like bank holiday dealy.
So we're like 2 days before midsummer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or certainly within the week.
That sort of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your search for printer ink, for want of a better word, do you make that public?
Not to Beauregard.
No, but I
But,
meant to.
I will happily send it over sub-vocal communications to you all.
In that case, that was one of the things that we were potentially looking for right at the beginning, before we met everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That goal has sort of slightly fallen by the wayside with everything else that's happened,
Yes.
but yeah, like Misty is very, very familiar with the bioprinters, and yeah, it's something. deeply precious resource that you didn't realise really what you had.
Yeah.
Printing like Wendy houses and castles as a kid alone in a vault.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you used an entire sub-site's worth of printer ink in your backstory, and then I believe it was when it ran dry was when you had to leave. Is that right?
No, so I actively left it ambiguous.
Right.
So young Misty doesn't remember if it's all gone or not because I was.
But that
I left that up to the
sub-site
GMs
is right on the warfront.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I believe I saw Misty's home written on the map now.
Yes, indeed, it's somewhere in there. Yeah.
Just up here.
So that might have some bio. I'm going to call you Mecha Uncle.
I mean, William is
Honestly,
fine.
William, that's extremely rad.
Presumably,
You're changing, Leviathan. You're getting more quote-unquote rad yourself.
I have been assimilating Misty's language packs. She's been creating them at an alarming rate.
Now to upload emojis.
Oh, she's put tiny LED screens in Will's eyes and just flash up the crying laugh emoji.
Oh dear.
It's fine, they're only visible one way.
If we can find
Yeah.
more of these distribution sites, that's our best bet.
Yeah. Anything else? So obviously you've got a few more questions, if you can think of them.
I can't think of one to.
The problem with augury is it's a course of action rather than divination, which is just a question.
Yeah, that's
I've-
one more level for that, I think.
If you're stuck for questions, I've got another question.
By all means, dear.
If we're heading east, right?
We are currently heading east.
If we continue east, will we find any distribution sites?
I was going to suggest a question similar to that, yes.
A martel distribution sites,
Uh,
as opposed to like a market. I don't know how.
You might want to word it
Precursor.
more.
Yeah,
Precursor distribution
precursor.
sites.
Yeah, I don't know how genie-esque this mysterious entity is.
Yeah.
I hate to do it, probably neither. Like, there's so many variables there.
Yeah.
Like, if you travel down the main road and make no diversions,
And east and come all the way round, technically, if we just continue
well,
east forever.
if we're getting real fucking granular.
Without
Yeah,
no, that's
I think just nothing.
You could, if you want to ask that question again, what I'd suggest you do is we pick a direction, anything specific, and point and that say, in this direction will we find a mortal distribution site, and if we ping and get lucky, we might. Yeah, basically, I'm kind of fishing for let's roll a d100 and see if we get real.
Oh,
lucky.
I'm fully in for that.
not even
That's for like-
300,
if
there's
we search-
360 degrees.
You feeling fucking lucky?
If we search
Unless,
inside the staging for an undiscovered distribution site, will we be able to find one?
Better than I was going to pick 37 on whatever and hope that's what the DM.
I think that will come up with like weal and woe. The implication I think you get from that being probably, but it depends how long you search for and.
Yeah.
But the fact that there is, but that would be enough to indicate that in theory there are some undiscovered distribution sites in the staging area.
And Misty, Leviathan, and Will between you could probably give a good indication that they are physically into space quite like freely, but some of them
Getting
are
access
under
to-
a half a mile of rock. Like, how would you possibly get in there? So, yeah.
Okay.
I am going to go pee. So you guys, if you have like another question, feel free to crowdsource that, and I'll be back in a second.
We've got 3 questions left?
2.
Two questions left.
Anything you want to know?
It's very difficult to word this question so that you can get an answer you want.
Yeah.
Is the issue with it.
So it has to be a course of action undertaken in the next 7 days.
Yes, but it can be a course of action that takes place right now, but the result...
The result has to be within 7 days.
No. The result can be
Anytime in the future.
anytime in the future. It gets a bit hinky when it's like too far away, and it's like, okay, well, if you take this course of action now, 30 years from now, you'll die. It's like, well, that's a lot of
If I
variable.
turn left at this road, will I die? And the answer is always, yes, you will die.
Yeah, that's why he's been giving nothing, because there's too many variables.
Remind me, who or what is it that we're asking again? Well, we don't.
The dead.
The dead. Okay. Interesting.
Okay, what about something regarding our mission? Like, I'm saying this out of character. If we seek out the Lady Chambers, are we likely to get caught in an ambush?
That's not bad.
I've got another one that will, because I've suddenly remembered something that we a potential theory about the containment vessel that they're carrying. While it could just be me that's misremembering, but
Little asshole.
obviously it could be powered and stored up, but at the same time we don't know if something else is also residing in it, like the genie equivalent of a hermit crab kind of thing.
I loved that description when you said that to me.
Well,
so
I listened to the recap, and basically, Leviathan said it's not powered up right now, which implies that there's something in it. But...
Well, the device itself isn't powered, and so whatever it is, its function isn't presumably a danger to us. My thing is, has something else taken up residence in it?
Oh, I see. So
that is entirely separate from that and nothing to do with its original purpose.
the trick is how do you word a question in order to get it?
Well, what would happen if I opened the containment vessel? And that should be a very quick nothing.
Yeah,
like
true. Okay. I'm happy for that. That's one left.
Nothing.
nothing. Cool. No, that's.
I know you've had 5 nothings in a row, so you've got to think that Will's brain's on the fritz at this point.
We've got
And then
It's a reasonable inference. But yeah, I like the. I would quite like to ask something about our immediate mission.
Yeah.
So I put forward the question of, if we seek out the Lady Chambers, are we likely to get caught in some kind of ambush?
Ooh, what a great question. Wheel and woe, I would say.
She's not an ally.
It's so it's possible. An ambush is possible, not guaranteed, but
It depends on if she sees us coming and knows who we are, I suppose.
unless the ambush isn't for us.
Also true. Could be for her. Well, that's 5.
Yeah, that's your last morning. You can actually see, you've been able to see, I think, for most of the previous day, like this hazy line on the horizon. The staging wall itself was created entirely by magic, just teams of transmutation mages just pulling rock up from underneath. I'm actually going to move you on, put the cat down and move you on to this. So you can see there's this like big embankment with this sort of turreted wall. I might just turn the music down a little bit there. And this stretches hundreds of miles. It encloses the whole section of the full like Hadrian's Wall hours. Like past this, you're in the wilds. You're on your own. You're heading to Weaver's Hollow. Beauregard, like, on the morning you asked this question, he's there sort of sorting papers and stamping ducats and stuff. And it says, now, I have made some amendments to my personnel roster, so for the... I had to do some chicanery with the paperwork. So you are now my personal chef. You're my security consultant. You're my accountant, and you are unfortunately my ward. But yeah, sure. It's all legal under the spirit of the law. I'm sure you understand. Yeah, all perfectly technically kosher, as you understand. But
I am going to have disguise self up permanently.
what disguise are you making?
You were security, right?
So, I will find out what. When he says this, I will ask him what the correct look for this kind of thing is.
Oh, that's a great question. Heavily muscled and intimidating.
Okay, so I make myself look more muscled,
Yep.
more intimidating.
Yep.
I will give myself a rad facial scar.
Excellent.
The 5 o'clock shadow, I'm going to change my hair to be a deep auburn.
Cool.
Big monolithic brow.
Cool. So you end up looking like some sort of like giant ancestry, like you look a bit Twithelian almost. Are you
And then I'll
changing?
dial it back a bit.
And then dial it
because I
back.
look
Take about 20% off the top. Yeah.
because I realise that I probably look a little bit too.
Yeah. So yeah, Will, you see him sort of adjusting his facial features like a character creation sliders, just going left and right as he brings up hard light screen. You're just like, okay, brow, just a little bit. No, that's too much. Oh.
Is somebody
Well,
holding a
what
mirror
about my-
for him
my
as
fa-
well? I'm like,
I think what I've done is I actually, rather than wearing it, I've got a little holographic projection of myself in
Right.
my hand,
Okay.
And
and
you're
I'm just
adjusting.
adjusting it that way.
okay.
Yeah.
At one point, I accidentally give myself a giant green goblin head or something with a black goatee.
Yeah. Excellent. Cool. So you, So Will is transforming yourself. You can see there is sort of you are on the full main road into the staging. You're seeing dozens of carts every hour, probably several a minute. Like you're going to get to maybe an hour away, and an hour is actually not that much difference because there's quite a big queue. The staging gate, as you've discussed previously, I think all of you will have been. You will have left it when you left the university. You would have left it when you left Harlan. You would have come from you've all been through the staging gate before. Oh, actually, you might not because you came the sea
I
route.
came a long way around.
Yeah, so
I've been up to Weaver's Hollow, I believe, but I didn't go through the staging gate.
So you have been towards it from this side, but have never sort of crossed through into the staging.
Yeah. And I was too much of a fraidy cat to try the other way.
Yeah. So the you know that both the sea gate up on the river and they are like customs ports. So there's more control of stuff going in than there is of stuff coming out.
Right.
So you're going to be standing there in and you are like sandwiched between like carts. It's basically like a ferry terminal customs port as you're going through. And Beauregard is sat there up front and he's sort of like giving himself a bit of a spruce up, a bit like with the white Stetson hat on and straightening his little bolo tie.
Does he look nervous? Like is he?
Roll insight.
I'll give you the help action.
Ooh, cool.
25.
26.
Okay, so 26 to 25 are very good. That's gold star information. You get that he is nervous, and you also get why he's nervous. It's nothing to do with you guys. He has got to work out a way of convincing these customs officials that all his shit got teleported into the Outlands by a genie doing it for the lols, and he doesn't have to pay tax on it.
Classic rich person. I'm worried about paying taxes.
Yep, basically.
Surely this is something you could help him with, making the legal argument. No, could.
Could.
Good. Oh,
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
You have
Will
you
not.
definitely have the physical ability to do that.
I would imagine if he needed help paying the taxes, you could offer him a very reasonable loan.
Which is why it's my best interest for him to incur the taxes.
Yes, exactly.
Just gotta wait for that moment to strike.
Yeah.
And you're queuing up at this massive gate. It's full sort of like Minas Tirith kind of massive tall gates. There are two gates side by side, one for ingress and one for egress, and they are closed with like artificer mechanisms between entries and exits. There is like a lock on a river where the boat comes in and then raises up. There's sort of an airlock system of the
portcullis comes down
That's
before the other portcullis comes up.
Precisely that. So basically, the inspection happens within the gate itself.
And there are like murder holes all in the walls, aren't there?
I mean, do you want to roll perception?
No, I know they're there.
You can roll perception. Yeah, like this is also like the first defense against attack from the Light Swan, for example.
Yeah.
And you are seeing, honestly, like those parties traveling with Coatl are getting more scrutiny.
Yeah.
And you eventually sort of line up. You can see
I will have made myself look like a Goliath.
a Goliath. Very good.
A giant.
Yeah,
But a short giant.
you're getting like a giant blood or like half giant, that kind of thing. So,
Basically, I am the giant that he could afford.
yeah. I think disguise self specifically is like you can change your height by up to 1 foot.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're getting Will's height plus a foot. You sort of come in and you see the sort of guards wave your cart in. Beauregard sort of gives Wayne's a little rip, drives into the port, and you hear and the portcullis comes down. And the guards there is like, hey, anything to declare? Any taxable income? Before we take a look back there?
I'll look at Beauregard to figure out whether or not he's going to try and lie his teeth off, or if he's going to figure out. Does he just like?
I'm going to carry forward that. I'm going to carry forward that 26 insight. This is a man who is preparing to unleash the full might of Southern charm.
All right.
No.
As he attempts to. Holy fucking shit. As he attempts to basically charm his way through.
Okay.
Now, the guard, you're getting in like heat of the day as well, so this guard doesn't want to be here.
Yep.
The volume of bluster, tirade, and little southern affectations that Beauregard unleashes with a nat 19 on the persuasion check, and he is specced into persuasion. Trust me. This is legal oratory that would make you blush. This is scandalous affectation of the law. He is tickling the legal system in all the right places, playing like a fine piano.
You just actually pull out a notepad and take notes.
And the guard, like, you know what, that is not my problem today. And just...
He ain't paid enough for this.
Yeah. Beauregard is paying, the taxes for hirelings, like you guys, so he is paying for people who... To bring people on staff into who doesn't cover your own paper. So you guys are, until you arrive in Harlan, employed by La Fontaine Industries.
Yeah.
And but you guys don't really get a sec, especially like there are probably still wanted posters. You see in a couple of them pop up with your old face, but you don't have that face right now.
No, I don't even have that face when I've dropped this anymore because it's been
Precisely.
cosmetic.
You're a respectable businessman.
Absolutely.
You're not actually wanted for anything technically, and you're a nice grandma. Like you were the problem child here in terms of getting through this, but with Disguise Self taking that invocation, that basically bypasses any encounter you'd have here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, played smart. And you see the portcullis raise up, and the staging wall. I'll just swap back to the Vola map a second. You can see how it's on this
I can go there.
this sort of raise, basically.
Volan map.
Yeah, that is basically a natural sort of hump in the terrain. Like it's not quite a mountain range, but it's certainly like hills that span the whole length of that wall. So there is a sort of rain shadow effect in that immediately as you come through the staging gate and down the other side of this hill, as you're sort of loosed into the staging, it's grass. It's scrubby grass. It's brown grass, but it is grass, not desert.
Yeah.
So for Will, this is the first time since before you became Watchmaster that you have seen the inside of the staging. How long has it been since Augustine left?
Say a year.
A year? Yeah, so it's a homecoming. Misty?
Not even that, I don't think.
Yeah, you've
less
been
than a year.
tearing around the place. Yeah.
I think that's the same for.
Yeah, so not too long. What's going through your minds as you step into nominal civilization and nominal safety?
I think for Lily, she's thinking, I went through here. I know I asked everyone, so somebody lied to me.
That's a powerful. What I'm going to describe that is a powerful statement. Yeah, there was some real implicit feelings in that sentence. Yeah. Misty. Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, I think if you see Lily's face, she's actually looking angry. And I think the only people who've actually seen that are the two of you who saw it in the alleyway briefly, which led to a man peeing himself.
Most things do.
So yeah, she's thinking about all the people she spoke to, and she would have spoken to all the military men, or any of the military people, and would just been like, which one of them lied? Which one of them do I think is the one who's got my grandkids?
You spent a lot of time here.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't have gone out into the Outlands to the fucking battlefront if you had other choices.
Yeah.
Lily, we will help you out.
Augustine, what's in your brain?
Questions. I think as we head towards what in theory could be described as the heart of the bank,
Yeah.
there has been a question that would he have been brave enough to have asked? But realising as he crosses the threshold into the staging area, he has to ask it, whether magically or physically, and so he's just thinking about that.
Cool. Misty?
Nostalgia, actually. Flashbacks of a very young Misty when we were coming back through.
The first time.
Yeah, but even the first time and technically the last time. Like they're two separate things. So yeah, there's.
Who brought you back?
It would, and I always forget her name. I think we would have been met at the gate. So it would have been people from the university.
So it would be a university expedition found you and then delivered you back to meet Ignatia?
Yeah, and I think she would have met me at the gates.
Cool.
And then come back through. But I mean, before that as well, vaguely remember coming back from a previous expedition with my parents.
Yeah. So you've got the 15 years ago or something, you were like a young child. And then after the whole world fell apart, you were delivered. And Ignatia probably would have been 17 or something then, so she wouldn't have been. She's not that much older than you.
Yeah.
But still very sort of grown up for the time.
There's a weird, bittersweet kind of thing about it.
Hey, buddy. What's Will feeling?
There is a melange of different feelings going on in there right now.
Yeah.
There is some level of nervousness or anxiety. However, he's keeping a handle on that. But there's also a little bit of sadness as he remembers why the staging exists, why the staging wall exists, and the conflict that happened.
Yeah, of course.
Just this whole area, I think he lived in the city itself.
Yeah.
And didn't go out into the staging at all if he could help it. partly because of the memories or the association of losing his wife.
Cool. So there's sort of a plethora of feelings as you come past the staging gate, and you're beginning to see like irrigated farmland, like channels have been dug, miles, days of like canals and stuff crisscrossing this, coming down from the river, because the river is somewhat artificial. Rivers don't really do what this one has done. This was built by an elder water elemental trying to get to the sea as fast as it could. So it hasn't branched, hasn't meandered. This is a very sort of unnatural river. So humans in the staging very much capitalised on that, and all the farms are sort of along the river. As you get to sort of you're going to be travelling through the staging for a couple of days. This will also be like the end bits of your downtime. But you can suddenly stay in inns. There's lots of inns. There's a choice. There's 4 or 5 pubs within stopping distance. And as you get to sort of the middle section, probably like the this first G of staging, going towards Harlan, that's when Midsummer Festival hits, and suddenly all of the inns are booked up, and you're sort of struggling to find one. Midsummer Festival sort of comes and goes. It is it's definitely like a celebration kind of thing. It's sort of like a one of the bigger bank holidays would be in our world. I don't know if that would have any sort of association. I suppose like probably for Misty. Do you remember Midsummer Festival with your parents, or Midwinter Festival with your parents?
No, but we might have done it with the university.
Fair. There would certainly have been like a holiday term for like this day and then the first week of the...
So, probably, possibly sneaking out with Ignatia.
Yeah.
Because is this like a celebration of harvest kind of thing? Or...
somewhat, yeah. It's like the solar...
like the summer solstice?
Yeah, summer solstice, winter solstice, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, we might have snuck out once or twice, and then like...
I imagine it's the biggest summer party of the year.
Yeah.
And
like it's the equivalent of 4th of July in America.
Very much so.
Big barbecues, big fireworks.
Yeah.
Everyone just enjoying outdoors.
Certainly, as you're travelling through and as you're staying in the inns and the staging, fireworks are everywhere.
Yeah.
And also artificer enhanced fireworks.
Yeah. So
one of them explodes with the shape of a dragon.
Big Gandalf energy.
Yeah, I imagine that
it's Kalex specifically.
And
he goes, oh.
Super early, no memories of that with parents. Post event, yes, sneaking out, getting up to mischief. Later, maybe a year or so before leaving, possibly in attendance officially with the university, helping produce some of the fireworks as like a artisan graduation kind of ceremony type thing.
Sure.
Not graduation.
One of your projects, your thesis, the practical part of your thesis might have been mixing different powders together.
Yeah, and again, it wouldn't just be me, but the some of the other students. It's kind of like the uni does here. They show off some of the work and stuff, and that might well be done in accordance with the summer festival. So, yeah, generally. The later ones are definitely positive because it's either blowing something up or sneaking out and causing mischief.
Well, question then.
Yeah.
Would that mean that there was a university pavilion somewhere in the staging where people could come and have a look at all the latest techno gadgets they've got?
It is funny you should say that. On that sort of third day, you spy something which to you looks completely normal, and to you guys looks fucking weird. So what there is completely incongruously just plopped down sort of next road, and you can see that it is at what you might call a misty safe distance from any other structure.
Not safe at all.
No, very safe. That's
3 miles?
There is, you see the loveliest...
The grounds here are very cheap to hire and still no one wants to take them.
You see the loveliest quaintest Ulsterian thatched white painted, like lime painted cottage with a lovely rose garden plonked on the top of a massive smoking factory. Like directly just plonked on the top. I'm just gonna activate a scene for you here.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You know who lives here. You spent some of your childhood here.
Remind me.
This is Nicodemus's house.
Yay!
It's moved since you last saw it.
Yes.
It was further.
It's moved.
It was further, sort of not inland. What do you call it? Further towards the centre. It looks like it has not like that long ago moved. Yeah.
He's probably brought it out for the festival.
Oh, this is definitely one of yours.
That thing looked really weird.
How close is it?
You're gonna go past it, but like the road
Damn right
is.
I am.
The road like will take you within sort of a quarter mile of it, but it's obvious where it is. Yeah.
Well, Misty, are we avoiding this thing?
No.
We're going to say hi.
Go, yes.
Friend of yours, dear?
Yeah, let's go say hi.
You can see like the clockwork crab legs that this factory sits on are like could be down, and there is like a little almost like a boarding ramp up to this quaint front door.
I love this thing. I love this thing so much.
And you can see there's like a very sort of there's a lovely door, little press button doorbell.
Misty, who is it that lives here?
Push the bell, push the bell.
Who is it?
Push the bell, push the bell.
Just push the bell, dear. You take a lot less time.
As you press the bell, this enormous like steam whistle foghorn goes off, and there is
the bell.
the sound of like clattering and falling items from inside
Misty, is your friend slightly deaf?
the cottage, and
Probably just tidy.
then a dude in his like 40s who I think you recognise.
I was on a video call.
You were on a Skype call with.
I Skyped him before.
I'm just going to turn the music slightly down, but I do like it. This is one of my favourite soundscapes that I've come across.
This is such a mood piece for him. This is everything I imagined him to be.
Yeah. Guys, you see a guy in like a blackened, soot-stained, acid-stained lab coat. He's Misty! Love, how's it going? And gives you a big hug.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't know you were coming by. Actually, no shit. What day is it?
I don't know.
Never
That's
mind.
always her job.
I know, right? Anyway, I think she mentioned something about it. These are your friends?
Yes.
Yes, dearie.
Uncle, Granny,
Nicodemus Anverder.
Yes,
Nice to meet
hello,
you.
dear.
And,
Nice
and
to
sort
meet
of goes around
Mecca Uncle.
and sort of like shakes your hand, then like, looks and just wipes some kind of like residue oil off, then goes to shake your hand. Nicodemus Anverder, I'm an academic at the university.
He would have noticed. I look different. Still,
Yeah.
But he might have noticed the metal hand. It doesn't look like a metal hand, but it still feels like it.
He just brings down some like full steampunk goggles and toggles one on. You're disguised. Have we met?
We chatted on the message.
On the mirrors. How you liking the mirrors? Pretty good invention, right?
Yes, although Nick just won't stop calling me.
That is a flaw that I have. Yeah, that's a feature, not a bug. I like to be in contact with my daughter, but yes, I don't know if any of you run into Ignatia. I'm her dad.
We met her owl. No, we didn't actually. We didn't meet her owl. You did.
Yes.
Ignore that.
Sure, you met the love the owl. You can see, by the way, that furiously cleaning are a number of small robots inside, and they are sort of 8 to 10 little small robotic constructs, and a force of 10 is vastly inadequate to clean this space. It is a true like hoarder's junk shop of shit. There are like piles of like stuff falling over. There's like loose acid on the floor. It looks like the inside of Misty's head.
Does Leviathan have any comments on this?
I never thought I'd say this, but dear God. He is clearly a visionary, but not like this. Yeah. Please, come in. Tell you what. And he basically goes to a data pad, actually. But this is not a recovered one. This is a purpose-built Artificer Tech one rather than a Martel Tech. Presser. And the little walkway you're on, up on little retro jets and just swings round with you all on it to the cottage rather than the factory. And come in, please.
I hope this cottage is nicer than the factory. I'm not holding out a lot of hope.
It's so tidy in there, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can see the cottage is it's regular messy rather than dangerous messy.
Inventor messy.
Yeah. And you sort of you can see there's a couple of days of washing up that haven't been done, and there's some laundry out the front. Sorry, I had to repurpose the domestic droids because it was a whole thing. Tea. Anyone want tea? Tea.
Look at the water.
Water. Lovely. Yeah, and sort of goes to you see one of the little robots, which basically has arms but no legs, is sort of going on like this. Picks up a bucket and starts cranking a hand water pump on the little front lawn. And
where does...
You're better off with the tea.
Yes, but that water's going in the tea.
It does indeed go in the tea.
We boil it all the
You see the teapot sprouts arms, picks up the bucket and decants into itself.
I'd like the tea, please.
And then hops onto the stove.
Make sure it's really well boiled, please.
So how's things been?
Exciting. Yeah, met friends.
Are we inside now?
Yeah.
Okay. I look to make sure I'm out of sight lines of the windows.
Yeah.
And then I'll drop for this guy's cell.
Yeah. The cottage itself is third story height, even though it's only a 1-story cottage, if that makes sense. So you're
in the context of the image, it makes sense.
You got it. Yeah,
I'm not going to be sat on the patio or up against some big bay windows or anything.
So you come up with anything new?
Yeah, we found a couple of sites, but nothing concrete yet. We're still trying to work down some leads. Ooh, and I'll pull out the Ray Data Crystal. Got one of these.
It sort of goes. You see the same kind of look you're familiar with on Misty, where all of the blinders have just come down, and he's sort of rabidly hyper focuses.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Leviathan has copied the
contents.
the
Yeah.
contents
So she
and
has
the
the
data
she has the
access.
encrypted files. Since you unlocked at least some of the files on there, you also have you've also shared those with Leviathan.
Yeah, because I've got it on my datapad, and then I've shared the findings across to the.
Sweet. Yeah.
But also, this row access that's been granted.
Yeah.
Does it require the crystal to keep the access?
So it has an access code within it, which you can copy across to your devices. Yeah.
Basically, I want to back up the entirety of that crystal to Leviathan. Rather, I want Leviathan to have gone, ooh, I should back this up.
That's pretty much exactly what's happened. Yeah. So Nicodemus is a recurring NPC, one I used quite heavily in the first time around this game. And one of my friends who has ADHD described him as the following, which is one of my favourite descriptions of any NPC ever, which is, if he had Ritalin, he would stride across the world like a colossus. Anyway, so he sort of comes down the robots start to clear the table, where they've been clearing the table so you guys can sit down. He just slams a button on the side and it flips over into like a desktop display computer.
As a reflex, I've managed to grab my tea before the table flips
Yeah.
over.
So this is encrypted. Have you managed to crack the protocols on this?
Yes, yeah.
What kind of thing? So this is precursor tech.
Heightened access.
Where'd you get it?
We found it from a memory of a refugee camp, precursor refugee camp.
So this wasn't a model.
It yes and no. It was what was left of the people at the end.
Gotcha. So it may be the technology may be immortal, but it wasn't actually found in a site.
It wasn't found at a Martel site as far as I can
Gotcha. Right.
figure. Yeah. More of a last stand.
Missy, can I have like 5 seconds with you over here?
Sure.
How much?
I'll distract Nicodemus.
How much does
Have you seen this?
Now you're talking my language. Please accompany me over to the window.
How much have you told him about the real history of what happened to them?
Nothing.
Okay, Nicodemus doesn't seem like the person who'd keep a secret, ever.
That's why I'm not going to tell him where.
Where is important, yes. Also, what is also important, because what we're talking about is heresy.
He's a man of science.
He is, but he has a big mouth, Misty. I can tell these things.
True, but come with me, Granny, and looks out the window. And I'm still right. There's no one around this.
There's a full quarter mile clearance sound. Yeah, Nicodemus says, "Yeah, since I installed the cannons, people have been a bit edgy."
Oh, yes, those. Right. I'm still concerned. I wouldn't tell him the heresy parts.
Okay.
Right? I don't... Spreading that information around will likely get us the wrong kind of attention, alright?
You ever thought of installing a weapons platform in that thing?
Well, it used to actually fire the entire hand, grab things, and then electrocute them along some cables. However, it has been remodeled recently. That technology has been repurposed. Currently, I am working towards...
And did you design this yourself?
No.
So you've been working with another artificer.
In a manner of speaking.
I have spoken to the wrong person. Understanding that, though. Whoops.
Perfect.
Will's trying to be cagey, but this guy is really throwing him off.
Right, so...
I'll keep this.
He's basically... Will is trying to do his best to distract that
Go
guy.
back to him before Will says something.
Yeah. Also, I've suddenly remembered. I don't think this was Martel. This was Dendrolus, wasn't it?
No, this wasn't.
The armor, Daedalus, everything else.
That was it.
Yeah, the
but we found that the Roe Data Crystal was that from the refugee camp. I am right.
Yes, that was at Nova.
Yeah, cool. No, that's fine. I thought it was from the.
Luckily, none. It wouldn't be a model Daedalus or anything, because it was past the point of those projects existing.
Which thing, sorry?
The crystal itself.
Yeah, but it came from a lady who originally was.
So this is one of the things you've unlocked from the crystal on the way. I don't know if you'd have shared this yet. This is... allow me to consult my notes.
Yes.
So he would pick this up pretty quickly the second he got the crystal and be like, oh, this is from...
He is somewhat stymied. It's taken you like 4 or 5 days to crack even the base level encryption on this, so he is, without those programs, it's just encrypted files. So this is related to a Martel Site 13.
Okay. Fair enough.
Is this specific to a Martel, or is this the equivalent of like picking up a USB stick that has a Martel stuff on it, but the physical technology is not specific to a given project?
That is exactly correct. This is a hard drive.
Okay, so without looking at it, you can't go, that is clearly...
You would know it's a precursor, you wouldn't know it's a Martel.
Sure.
This is... So some of the stuff you get is related to a Martel Site 13.
Yep.
You have managed to basically crack open some of Commander Yennis's, personal documents, the one with the lower levels of encryption, which are... make reference to phase research, a Martel Site 13, the distribution network.
Yeah. Doralus was... Doralus wasn't a Martel.
Doralus was... So, just for recap's sake, Doralus was one part of the Zonal Systems network that was not bought out by a Martel, unlike Paytax and Aeshna. Sorry, Aeshna was, Paytax and Doralus weren't. They were still developed and used, they just weren't part of the Immortal network at the time.
Okay, so when you say this came from, or this was originating from Immortal Site 13.
Yeah.
That's not Dorolus, but they were doing something with phase fluid, which was Dorolus.
Correct. Yeah. So Dorolus was using phase fluid. This makes reference to research on the phase projects, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, because also, didn't we recover it was either an audio or a written entry when we found the Dorolus site that they were complaining that their resources were being redirected to Project Immortal.
That is exactly right. All the crystal banks, all the
Yeah.
power sources were being
Yeah, and they were annoyed
sucked
at
up
that.
by
'cause-
Immortal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you doing in the staging? Yeah, on the way to Harlan, or are you stopping here?
We're on our way to Holland. We're just and I will look at Granny and then
Passing through, do you?
pass through.
Do you want a left?
We're
What-
under contract.
Yes.
If we get to Harlan on this on our wagon, we'll get some money. So
Gotcha.
I mean,
Tidy. Yeah, fucking
we'll
point.
have to know money.
Yeah, well, I'm out here for. I'm doing some loud research. You know the kind. So yeah, the university is sort of. I'm a bit exiled persona non grata for just frankly the people's sleep cycles. You know. So, but good news is the cannon's all installed now. So, like, I should be going back at some point. I didn't find the time.
Is it capable of a vertical launch process?
But the cannons.
Yeah.
You want to see them?
Okay.
Yeah, like the thatched cottage, you just see two enormous ion cannons. Just right. Yeah, see, really good. Perfect. Got about a mile range on them. The issue is, they do set the thatched roof alight. So I'm working on some cooling coils, and that's really where I'm going with that now.
Or couldn't you
Cooling
just
coils.
paint the thatch in some kind of fire retardant material?
Just the notebook is already out,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, and just start sort of like scribbling chemical formulae and, yeah.
What kind of power source are you using?
Oh, and he pulls down crystal base. So similar to Immortal Tech, but this is. Could I get an Arcana check or technology check from any of you three? You'll know this straight up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
19. Technology.
You recognise this specific crystal technology because you've handled these crystals before.
These the ones that we got Fort Morgan.
Bingo. Yeah.
He charged us up at Fort Morgan.
You seen the work at Fort Morgan? What do you think?
Got hired to go and recharge the
They
walls.
still haven't figured out the remote charging yet.
Remote charging.
Yeah, it was an idea I had, but there was like a big line of lightning was the problem, like between the one place and the other place, and it charged it, and he sort of like
It cooked everything in between though, didn't it?
a little bit, yeah.
And anyone standing too near it, they would just get...
No one was injured. I'm going to start with the fact no one was injured.
But things were damaged.
I don't get a lot of work in Fort Morgan anymore.
You were either caught in the beam or you weren't.
That is a concerning way you
Now, I've
put
heard
that.
of this wonderful thing called insulated cabling.
I've been doing some similar work. The issue is this vulnerability of the individual cables. You'd have to run them under the ground. And you could build some tunneling droids, and I have looked into that, but the cooling problem there again. And also the arcanomagnetic sand. You get a lot of those problems. You get beds of it where there's been like precursors that's been disintegrated, and then that messes with your conduction, and it's a whole business. Yeah, and he says, but fire retardant chemicals. Now, I was speaking to Professor Hapsworth, and you've been leaning more into the alchemy science kind of things.
Yes.
Could you have any suggestions?
Yeah, that sets things alight.
Roll me like a tech or arcana.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, mostly I'm better for 25.
25. Okay, so you like immediately go in and like pull up on your data pad and just like hard light the screen up with the with like, and say basically like you know those old like maxi model plastic chemical like atomic things used to get in school.
Yeah.
Bring up like a molecule and just sort of like I was actually working on exactly this thing for unrelated reasons. And brilliant, right? Let me it just sort of starts sort of scribbling this down.
while you're writing that down, has the survey team found any other potential sites?
I don't know. Was there a survey team?
He was excommunicated, remember?
Excommunicated is a strong word. I have been
We're told to
invited.
go away for a bit.
I've been invited to take a brief sabbatical to work on my own research.
Yeah, but they might still talk to him. Like, Ignatia feeds you bits, right?
Shit! And he sort of starts. Is it midsummer?
It's past that.
Oh, that was
Just-
yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Fuck! We've missed her birthday again.
Yes, we have.
Shit!
But I'm coming back.
Blimey!
So-
So like just he's talking to it. Technically his adopted daughter, and just stops loudly screaming the word shit. Right, that's an issue. Give me a hot 20 and dashes down into the workshop, and you
I
feel
give him a
like
hot 8.
and starts.
You're not related to this person at all.
Yeah,
Okay.
he helped raise me.
Oh, okay, yes.
Can you,
That's...
can you not tell?
Oh, I can tell, dearie.
We
I
can
can
tell.
definitely tell.
You can hear like a power hammer going, and like it's like crackle of like a plasma cutter.
There's a 50-50 chance he's going to forget about us.
I got that
So
impression.
accurate.
Do we
Oh,
just go? Is
shit.
that the done thing?
I think we could, and he wouldn't know.
I mean, what are the chances that if we leave, he'll get distracted halfway through this project and then completely forget to create her present?
Does he still have the data crystal?
No, that's plugged into the table.
That's fine, because I was like, shit, he's building it into something.
We take that back, and you know, do you need anything from him, or did you just want to pop in and say hi?
Wait, say hi.
Where's Beauregard in all this?
Beauregard is waiting in the
He is
wagon
like
outside at a safe distance.
He's a misty distance away.
Yeah, he's outside the misty radius.
Yeah, just wait to say hi, asking.
That's fine.
Oh, and I'll open up one of the cupboards. Can I grab a couple of glasses of odd-looking liquid for?
For real, yeah. You sort of go to the spice
Top up on
rack,
this,
and
yeah.
there are things that should not be.
The spice rack.
Yeah.
None of those should be there. Not that's not paprika. That's not cloves. That is for sure not olive oil.
That one's spicy though.
That powder's glowing.
Oh no!
That's a worrying.
Well, close the cupboard door.
It's a worrying
I
amount
think
of
that's
them.
enough.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you won't mind if I borrow these.
All right, let's get out. Let's get out with it.
All right.
I'll leave a note.
Yeah, is it even nice now? The kitchen?
So, we left. You seemed busy. Have a good day.
Thanks for the tea.
Thank you for the tea.
What's his? Could I get like his contact details? His phone number essentially.
So this is the thing. If you wanted to leave a like networked earpiece here, you could.
But the range
Otherwise,
isn't great on those, is it?
Otherwise, you can. Yes, absolutely.
He's got the mirror thing.
About 50% of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's got the mirror thing. I was thinking, could I tap into
But the
that?
mirror thing, it's like a different network.
It's
isn't it?
it's
Different
like landline versus mobile or something. I don't. Yeah, like. Oh, that's the same message just popped up in there. Yeah, you're like. Boom, and then, cool. You head back down the little gangway outside, and you can just hear welding and all sorts of mysterious noises happening inside. And head back down to. That's an unusual gentleman.
Isn't he great?
Oh yeah, he's disguised again before I leave.
Yeah, sure.
You're
Yes.
very
Ring
weird.
the bell.
I'm fine.
I think we should just carry on.
If you value the integrity of your remaining possessions, I suggest we get it out.
More than almost anything else in the world.
Didn't you hear him? It's got a mile range. I mean, if he wanted.
By the way, the cannons are still extended, and you can see people edging slightly. The misty radius just slightly expanding.
They're not even. they're nowhere near further enough away, but that makes him feel safe.
At least he said they were disconnected, didn't he?
Yeah, he said that. Cool. You've got this occurs sort of about a day's travel outside of Harlan. So yeah, like you again, you're traveling through these various inns.
Later in the day, I'm going to tell Misty to maybe just send a reminder to him that he still needs to actually deliver the present for Ignatia in case he's forgotten.
The first message you get back is what present?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. So you are just finishing. You're now going along by the river. It is mercifully cool. Like the grass is actually like lush in some places. There's big fields of crops out here, very close to the river. It's sort of big, sort of Nile Delta kind of energy. And you can absolutely see there's another sort of smaller wall, but like the gates are like open. They're not customs gates. And you can see Harlan itself. I'm gonna activate this particular little oobly-boo now. So this is Harlan. X. Thank you, Misty. Thank you so very much.
What horrible thing did you do?
So, Harlan Island is this one here. That's sort of like the Manhattan kind of thing. It is its own island.
Right.
It's expensive. Land is pricey.
Yep.
Like the central business district is there. Governor's Hill is where the governor of Harlan lives. You've got the Temple District up at the top, which does what it says on the tin.
Yep.
The Mansion District is also there. There's a big park, like Central Park kind of thing, and like the higher end markets are also on the island. There are 3 bridges. There's the King's Bridge, the Queen Bridge, and the People's Bridge.
We're crossing from the People's Bridge.
You'll be approaching from sort of this direction. You have the city has built up on the shoreline. Originally, there was like most of the settlement was there when the island was still like quite heavily wooded. That has all been cleared, and it's like that's all like built up now over the last 20 years. The city sits in sort of 4 distinct areas. You have north side, south side, the island, and also there is a sort of like Venice style among all the delta. That's all been like fortified, and so there's a lot of like canal traffic, that kind of thing.
Yeah, parts of it.
And this is a very sort of tidal estuary, so the water goes between fresh and salt, and there's quite a level of height difference between the to the point where some of these little delta fronds of the river are dry at low tide, and like only like the main river coming through here is deepest. And yeah, you see the south side over here is like the cheap seats, as it were. North side is a little bit. These north side and south side are both very residential. The markets in the sort of poorer areas tend to be in the delta. I just realised there's no music on. I'm going to correct that very briefly.
Remind me where the university was. As well.
The university is up in sort of here in the on the island.
Yeah.
Where is... Do we know where the ladies' chambers is?
Or
I
where?
assume in the man's district somewhere.
Right.
That's probably a good bet.
And
And what's Beauregard? What's our destination of Beauregard?
You are going to certainly the Manse district.
Where?
Home sweet home. As you arrive into arrive into the outskirts of Holland.
As promised, you're here? You're safe?
Yes. Well, would you like to accompany me to my place of residence? I'd like to survey the damage, as it were.
Well, yes, I'd also like to be paid, so I assume that's where that will happen.
Most certainly. I'll be only too happy.
I'd like to just grab a sidebar with Gusty over here.
Nice.
And I'll hand you a piece of paper with some writing on it. Well, no, I'll ping it to your pad. This is an address. At some point, would you be able to have a look at this address and see who is watching it?
Sure.
Sure. Where's the address?
The address is really near your house.
Oh.
So you're in like the. Are you in North Side? Are you
North
in?
Side.
Sorry, not near your house. It is very near Beauregard's house, though.
Okay.
Like to the point of like 3 or 4 streets away. Like a very sort of New York grid system. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like not A, B, C, D. But you know what I mean. Quite close to the address you're heading already with Beauregard. Sort of townhouse in a fairly nice area of the Manse district. You do get the expansive mansions like rolling grass lawns and golf course shit. You also get like blocks of townhouses, sort of the sort of nicer areas, but not like full mansions. It's like terraced houses, but like the kind of mansion you saw getting dropped on a bit of countryside.
Fair.
Yeah.
We're talking like a couple of blocks away from.
Yeah, a couple of blocks. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm watching it for you. You are aware we're going very close to this place.
That's why I have the disguise.
Yeah. You for sure start to see gang colours. Different syndicates. You recognise that sort of green and white of the Angeli syndicate. On like these people are paying no mind really to anyone. You do see a couple of like pickpocket gangs going around as the travellers come in and like the fresh meat arrive in the city, but like none of them are sort of like paying you guys really any mind.
I imagine every 10 minutes ping on the business card.
A surfeit. The business card is basically at this point you're like swiping away notifications as there's
Do not disturb.
absolutely I would say conservatively 100 or so people in the in Harlan have loans with your bank.
Can we hear this pinging, or is it just in
No,
general?
it appears in handwriting on the back of the business
Oh,
card.
okay, all right. But he's looking at it.
Well, when it first happened, it was like I could feel like a heat or like I could,
Something there was some sensory effect that would
a
notify.
non-visual one.
Yeah,
so that you didn't even
absolutely.
Look at it.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. To answer your other question.
Okay.
Yeah, where would you like to go?
Well, we are following
So you're heading.
Beauregard.
Yeah, so you Beauregard is going to take you probably via People's Bridge. People's Bridge is this big, double wide. Think London Bridge in the sort of 1700s. There are full markets set up on the bridge. There is a roadway down the middle, but this is thriving sort of business.
Yeah.
The full centre of Harlan. More people than any of you have seen in minimum months. Harlan is a city of a couple of million people, which is by far the biggest on Volan anywhere. Like Fort Morgan is I think somewhere hovering around like 30,000-40,000 mark. So there's a vast disparity in the sizes. This is the full heart of like human population.
For scale, how wide are we? How long is this bridge?
The People's Bridge itself is a couple of 100 meters. Like it's a long bridge, but it's in quite shallow water. It wasn't like difficult to construct. And
Out of curiosity, so obviously we don't know all the places, but how does this population compare to some of the coyotal settlements that we're aware of? Like, do we know if their cities run up into the millions?
how many coyotes have you been to?
I meant during the studying of the coyotals, like what's been documented. Not because I appreciate I've personally not come across a million.
You've been to one capital city, as we've discussed.
Yes, I keep forgetting.
That you saw minimum tens of thousands, but that cave network was completely and utterly vast, and you were there for a day. You're not sure. You know that there are some tribes like the Tulkara who were extremely badly hit by both the initial contact with humans and the Battle of Harlan, who are down to, their numbers are down to the thousands, the single-digit thousands. which is why the Tulkra have not taken a side in the war, because they can't afford to.
Yeah.
You're not certain, is the answer.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I think I'll probably revise the number down from a couple of million to like 700,000, 800,000 kind of area. On second thought, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it's more just to get a perspective.
Yeah.
Cool.
As you carry along the People's Bridge, you see like this, like the topography of the island is sort of like that kind of level. So it's higher up towards Governor's Hill. Basically, you can see the big sort of white painted mansions. Yes.
The Watchmaster's office, is that in the Manse district near Governor's Hill?
That's actually on Governor's Hill.
On Governor's Hill itself?
Yes, yeah. As opposed to the Sheriff's headquarters, which is on the mainland. That's sort of, you can actually see it on the map there, it's sort of just in the middle of Southside, yeah. But certainly all the bureaucracy, or the Department of Planning, the Department of Water and Sewage and stuff, that's all Governor's Hill. That's like the administrative district. And you're beginning to get into like these beautiful tall houses. You're very familiar with these. You've sort of maybe passed through when you were interrogating various people.
Yep.
How often did Augustine get onto the Harland Isle itself?
Not often. I think we discussed it. The
Yeah.
clientele is just too rich.
Yeah,
And not
like
people that we would loan to.
yeah, you're very much like the micro loans kind of deal. So, and certainly like it's not quite sort of Baldur's Gate. If you're going to be out after night, you're going to get arrested or worse. But like certainly if you're hovering around the Manse district late at night in dark clothing, people are going to ask questions. Not only is the Watchmasters, so there is the Harlem Watch. A lot of the Manses hire like private security teams, etc. And you round the corner onto a particular sort of lovely avenue. It's not even a road, it's certainly an avenue. And you see there's number 1, and there's number 2, and there's a gaping hole in the ground, and there's number 4.
I think I found your house.
Yes. You sort of look down and there's like a nice carpeted basement that's definitely been rained on in the intervening time. Oh, my pool table. Oh, no. Oh, well. Y'all been wanting paying, of course. And may I say thank you for your assistance in getting me this far. I'm under no illusions that a gentleman of my caliber would be unlikely to survive in the wilds I'm on. The martial arts are not my forte, as it were. And he goes into his bag, pulls out like basically a checkbook, like a promissory notebook. Y'all from Holland? You able to locate a bank around here, or do you need some directions?
I think we can find a bank. Whether or not we can cash a check in it is another question.
Writes out promissory notes for the agreed upon amount. Does everyone remember what that was?
200 apiece.
I believe that is correct. That's what I thought as well. So we're going to go with that. Writes out 200 gold promissory notes for each of you, and it says, if I require service again, I'll most certainly be in contact. Are you planning on staying in Holland long?
Haven't decided yet.
Yes, we're trying to figure that out.
Enjoy the lights of the city.
The last time I was here, though, I would like to quickly ask a question. Where would we find the Widow Chambers home?
I believe that is further north into the Manse District. They have quite an expansive estate.
Thank you, dear.
What do you plan to do now?
I would like to have a small cry. And then I'm going to go setting about rebuilding my domicile.
I pat him on the shoulder comfortably.
He's basically going to be taking...
with the real hand.
Effectively, like, what he'll actually do is get you to drop him off at, like, a lock-up. Where he can, like, secure storage kind of thing. But it is, like, just down the street.
And presumably we're then dismissed from his employment.
Yes, I'm afraid your contract of employment is unfortunately terminated here. I hope this will go some way to ameliorating that loss.
Thank you, dear.
And welcome to Holland.
Good luck.
Thank you. You're a strange gentleman, but I'm honoured to have made your acquaintance.
So, bank, chambers.
Good luck.
You don't
A
want-
bank. A
A
bank.
bank.
Not your bank.
There is a bank. It's a branch of the Bank of Harlan round the corner. Good clientele. Sort of. You pull up. It is weirdly really. It does raise your hackles a little bit because it's exactly what you'd expect to find in a bank, and recently that wouldn't have been traumatizing. But yeah, it's like little bowl of lollipops, pens on chains, the whole works. You step in, how can it be? This isn't your day, and yeah, just hands up promissory note, doles out 200 gold apiece. Quest complete. I should play The Witcher 3 again. So I'm going to say it's sort of like 1, 2 in the afternoon as you actually arrive into Harlan. So this is probably at 2:30. And it's, bright, hot summer day. The festivals are over, so there's a lot of like road sweepers out and stuff. But this is the bit I was really dreading because, like, I know you all got business in the city, and I did not know which bits to plan. So fucking have at, let's go.
Okay, so I think we need to have a place to stay before we do anything. Just if we get separated, a place to run back to, but also a place to just hide, a base of operations to work out.
If you're thinking we're going to cause trouble in here and we're going to, be running back to some place. If we cause trouble in here, we're running out. Because there's
A place to gather together. If we got
I
split
could
up.
offer you room and board, but
At a very reasonable price.
gratis. Unless you bring trouble to my door. But as a place to plan, as a place to sleep up your head.
Yeah, you do have a lovely apartment in Northside. The true. It's not quite the suburbs, but it's the suburbs of the city. There are also a wide array of inns and posting houses, etc., etc., etc. Also, in the interest of not slowing down the whole business, you will be able to find literally anything in the PHB at PHB price here. Basically, text me if you're buying anything. You can do that with little effort. There is Costa's and general stores every couple of blocks.
Fancy a coffee?
So, I think we go to your domicile. Then I think is the smart plan.
Describe to me what Augustine's house looks like.
I think it looks quite bland, actually. One of the things is he's been away from this place for so long that there's a lot of dust sheets over various bits of furniture. And you can see that there's like a little reading corner, but the only other sort of area of busyness is a desk where there's paper. They are neatly aligned. There's a definite sense of order on this desk.
Right.
But other than that, you'll find a very basic room. But
You've got a couple of there's so you've probably got one spare room, but there's sofas and things, so there's enough space for 4 people to stay. If you guys want to do a little bit of planning about what your next moves are in Harlan, I'm going to go pee again.
Sure. So it sounds like we've got the ladies' chamber, the lady chambers, your bank,
possibly the ladies' chambers. Could be the daughters as well.
your bank.
at some point.
At some point, I know
Your
you're
house.
real
My
scared of
manse,
that.
yes.
Yes.
That's the address. That's the address that I gave you. If it wasn't clear.
Yeah.
I'd like to wish Ignatia happy birthday at the university.
Do you have a present for her?
My presents will be my present.
Lillian shoots you a look like, that's stupid.
Make her something nice. Go buy some materials and make her something nice.
Get her some flowers.
But yeah,
I might go shopping for some materials.
I think we hand wave. There's some shopping. I think
Yeah.
a post today activity is to look at the beach and see what.
I'm going to bring up my AC by 1 because I can afford splint mail now, but I can't afford plate. I'd really love plate. I love magic plate.
How much is plate?
1,500.
Yeah, okay.
I have a personal errand that I'd like to run, but I request Lillian's to accompany me when I'm going to do it.
You request sorry?
Mine.
Lillian's.
Oh, Lillian's.
What do you need? What do you need, dear? Do you just want me to go and then we'll find out when we get there?
Spiritual counsel.
You didn't strike me as a spiritual man, but given I've seen your bank, I'm not surprised.
You get a call on your mirror. Misty, you're back. I just spoke to Dad.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I don't worry. Dad mentioned that he'd forgotten to pass on your present, so thank you for that. It's very kind of you.
Yeah. No worries.
So, are you going to be around at the university?
Soon. Very, very soon.
Right. Well, you know where my office is. I'm going to be in all. I've got like meetings with some of my grad students later on, but just pop in any time. I'll be happy to see you.
Cool.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Yeah. So,
It's a beautiful dice, by the way.
thank you.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
So clear.
They're like Amazon ones. They're not even like nicer ones.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't need more dice right.
So, where are we going? You wanted to spear. She was like, we need to go out for a quick jaunt. A quick jaunt?
Hour.
Half hour. Right, let's have a walk then. Come on.
If you wanted to go to the university,
I think
I can come with you.
I think Lily's probably quite bad at hiding in this place. She looks like a cat who wants to jump. Like she's really wound up.
Are you feeling okay? Of the two of us, I'm the one who should be on edge.
Somebody here lied to me when I went through the first time about those 2 grandkids I'm looking for, and I'm meaning to find out who.
Certainly, you'll know that the access to people was much harder on the island. You spoke to everyone on the docks, all the sort of common man, all through Southside, a lot of places in Northside. I mean, you were combing a city on your own, but you had a thorough sweep, but you got a lot more resistance on the island.
Yeah, somebody somewhere here didn't tell me the whole truth, and I didn't clock it, or I didn't notice, or I was too busy, I was too much of in a rush. And this time I'm not going to be in a rush, and I'm going to find who lied to me the first time round, and they're not going to have a good day.
It's just not the case of not asking the right people. I mean, if they're as involved as I think they could be in something nefarious, then it's going to be well hidden, right?
Somebody must have seen something though. Those kids, they're not. It's like one of them had blue skin and horns. They're not. They're very difficult to hide. Somebody would have saw something and were told not to tell anyone. But it doesn't matter for now. Ladies' Chambers is next. Your thing first. So what am I doing out on the road?
We get to a market, generic market, and I will buy a bunch of flowers.
Right.
And we keep on walking. After a few minutes later, we approach a very nondescript graveyard. And we go in, we'll go about, I don't know how big graveyards get in this sort of place.
Is this going to be sort of north side?
Yeah.
So it's definitely the outer outskirts of the city. It's not like Pottersfield Paupers kind of graveyard. It's just a little middle class graveyard, effectively. And space on the mainland is not at a premium. So the graveyards are nicely evenly spaced. There's even sort of some like rudimentary like plumbing sprinkler systems to keep the grass a bit nicer. That wouldn't be the case in like Southside. And there will be individual gardeners in the Manse district, but here there's a little extra than you'd expect. It's sort of there's flowers and the grass is kept nice and clipped and everything. Yeah.
When the chaos of Tombstone happened, there was a thing that I was worried about, and we're here to make sure that that's still not an issue. I know this is your domain. This is
Yes.
this burial rituals and all of that is a thing that you're familiar with.
Yes.
So I need your help.
Oh, right.
And
I'm glad we have the flowers instead of shovels.
I mean, I'm not going to go digging.
All right.
I want as much magic as you can spare to
Sure.
tell me what's going on without having to. I don't want to look.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine. I'll do what I can.
And we approach a gravestone, and it says,
Oh.
"Grace Mayfield, forever remembered, a bond of incomparable value."
Boy.
You're gonna have to give me a little bit more context here.
I didn't. She was buried according to the customs of this city. You know me, at this point I'm not religious.
Are you worried she's gone walkabout?
Is she still there?
Oh.
I'm going to do 2 checks.
Sure.
One of them is going to be religion.
Sure.
One of them is going to be your choice of investigation or perception.
Okay, so religion first. What is that? Oh. Not great. 5 for the religion.
Okay.
And perception.
If you want to pop a use of Eyes of the Grave as well, that will counteract the 5 on the religion.
Okay, yeah, she'll do that. And then for perception, it is 20.
Cool. Okay, so there's very little that isn't mundane about this grave. Eyes of the Grave, no one dead around here. Doesn't look like really any traces of them. This is a perfectly good and useful graveyard for exactly this thing.
Like I'm looking for, like...
There is a little chapel which has been hallowed, so everything around it is...
also hallowed.
Yeah.
So ground is hallowed. I can kind of feel that.
Yeah.
Because like an actual hallowed ground would be like, once you step across it, you get the positive effect from the hallowed ground, like the spell itself.
Yeah,
You would
precisely
feel
that.
and he would feel it, but he might not know what it is. Do you feel nicer here in this spot specifically? Like when we crossed, and she kind of looks about there. Did you feel something like restful?
Sometimes. Not in a. It brings back memories, and so it's sometimes happy, and sometimes it is guilt, and sometimes a bunch of other things.
The grave hasn't been disturbed, so that's a good sign. The grave has been done correctly within all the correct.
It is a settled and undisturbed grave.
There's nothing wrong. I won't say there's no way that somebody couldn't have pulled her from this spot, because that's impossible for me to determine at my current ability. But I don't see anything that indicates that she's come back on her own. I mean, I don't want to, but I could dig.
No.
Right? Who was this to you? It matters for all kinds of reasons.
Everything.
The every kind of people matter a lot. And the best we can do to make sure that they don't want to come back is to remember them, but not want for them. You understand? I didn't expect to come out to a graveyard today. I'm in the wrong clothes.
Full of surprises sometimes.
Indeed you are.
Give me
Indeed
a
you are.
moment.
Of course. I'll go have a chat with the chaplain. See if just see anything else.
So the priest isn't here. There's a gravedigger who is sort of preparing a plot for tomorrow. Just a very mundane death by old age in the city.
Yeah. Does he look like he's doing it competently? Like he's not doing anything?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like just someone doing their job. Like he's probably in his sort of 50s, like mid 50s. It looks like he's been doing this a long time, really. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll come over to him and say, "Hello, dearie.
Hello. You visiting?
Sort of. Do you see the gentleman over there in front of that grave?
He sort of leans out.
Yes, the grave he's in front of. It's not been disturbed or nobody's been coming to it or anything strange like that.
No, that I've seen. That's quite an old section. That's what 5-6 years back. So,
Right.
yeah, we haven't had any exhumations. We haven't had any trouble. No.
Good. That sounds good. I'm just, it's kind of my area of expertise, if you see what I mean. So I just want to make sure that everything's going well. Is the chaplain about somewhere?
Not that I've. No, I think he's giving someone last rites in the city.
Right. No worries, dear. Thank you.
Can I get a perception check from you?
Oh, good. Oops. 22.
At the same time that he clocks yours, you clock a little gold scythe around his reaping sickle around his neck.
So we look at each other and we nod.
Yeah. You get the sense that he got the context. He inferred the context of why you were asking those questions.
Yeah.
And was in a position of authority to be able to allay your fears around that.
So I'll give Augustine a little bit of time and wait at the kind of entrance for him to come back, rather than.
Watching from afar, you'll see him place down the flowers and then get a single coin and place it on top.
Cool.
Stands in silence for a few moments and then comes to you.
Yes. Well, dearie, I hope that helped. Graveyards are a place for the living, oddly enough.
True enough.
And if you wanted to know a little bit of extra things to allay your fears, I spoke to the gravedigger over there, and he's one of mine, and he says that there's been no trouble anywhere near that particular grave. Of course, this is not where I expected to come out on a jaunt with you, but I'm glad I made it.
Meanwhile, where are you two heading?
University, right?
Yes, indeed.
I've got a new disguise on.
Nice.
I'm slightly shorter. I've got black hair, very messy, big round glasses, and I'm wearing a t-shirt that says, "Actually, I am a rocket wizard."
Fuck yes, inspiration.
So just before we go on this venture,
I'm like kind of scrawny.
can I just say I totally misread that entire interaction. When he went to the market and bought flowers, I'm like, is he taking Lillian on a date?
So I had that thought, and I was like, do I make a joke here? It's like, no, this doesn't feel like that. This feels like something else.
Oh, this is something else. If I make a joke, I'm going to feel real bad in like 4 minutes.
No, that's why I didn't say anything, because I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Let's see how this plays out.
There's the little angel and devil on Misty's shoulders going, huh?
Yeah.
That deviled eggs was sat in the window.
It's like, the longer you leave it, the worse it's going to get. Cool. So you guys are heading, up into relatively near. It just sort of nestles just at the bottom, like big open plan campus. It is surrounded by like a courtyard wall, but it's not a defensive wall. It's more a sort of aesthetic choice. Just in the crook of the Governor's Hill, basically where the Governor's Hill rises up behind it. Beautiful white stone. This is all wizards flexing on the shit they can create with magic that architects have to work for. I'm going to give you that for free. That's the aesthetic of this place. I mean, you spent years here, so you know this. You went all through your secondary education here, into your beginnings of what will probably be like a master's degree, you head in. Sort of whereabouts are you heading first?
Probably we'd take a moment to stand in the entrance, just to try to re-get the sizing of it. It seemed so big,
Yeah.
and then it seemed very small. Now it's just a building.
I'm gonna have just a stack of books that I'm carrying as well.
Very good.
Just
Yeah.
following Misty along.
Sure. You have got like the interior of the uni is like full like American movie college campus. Like there's some like what's that game where they like hacky sack, but it's with like a little magic missile and sort of like it's just wizards doing it. And yeah, there's sort of big like glass fronted buildings and white stone. Just this beautiful sort of excess of architecture. And yeah, like there's the main sort of college campus building, which is where a lot of like the offices are. There's also sort of various labs and workshops and various things around. So yeah, what's the destination?
Let's go to Ignatius' office.
Alright, lead the way.
Yeah, you and your scrawny friend, head straight into the main college campus building. I imagine you would have some kind of like ID. It would be not quite like it would be a lanyard. Let's face it. I've got a lot of university trauma to work through from working there for 4 years.
One thing about a lanyard is if it catches in some machinery, it just goes tunk.
Yeah,
I'd imagine it'd just be like a levitating thing you put in, and it'll just hover wherever you've.
Yeah. So yeah, you head in. There are some little like turnstiles to go through. Heading into it, and there's like a receptionist with some real bored people just sort of eating pasta. Sort of you go into this atrium, like tall. You can see like offices up the sides of the atrium, and the sort of the plan of the room you're in is like a trapezoid with the short end at the bottom. And they're like open bits into the offices on either side. And you head up. There's sort of a staircase that sort of spools around this room, and you head over to Dr. Ignatia Anverder's office. And you can see there is like a grad student sort of like just waiting outside, holding a big sort of pile of dissertation papers, and probably honestly like one of your like what's the word? One of your peers, rather like you might not know the person, but certainly of your level of
possibly in the year below me or something.
Yeah,
like
but they've probably got like 5 years on you in age, but where they sit in the.
I suppose they continue even after I left. Yeah, makes sense. I'll take a moment to acknowledge that, like, look at the kid there, and then look at your disguise.
It's pretty good. It's pretty solid, to be honest.
Pretty good. Although, just out of curiosity, the number of magic users, how many of them can see through his disguise? Like,
no one has commented.
True Sight's a high level spell, actually.
True Sight is a high level spell, but the likelihood of someone having a det mag up.
Yeah, they'd see the magical field. Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't actually see through the disguise. Yeah. But they would see that there was illusion on me.
But at the same time, people could be practicing that all the time. So
if people noticed and cared, they could start making investigation checks to see through it. But probably no one cares.
I mean, weird shit happens here all the time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, and a teenager using detect magic for other reasons than like just to decisive something. It's like to hide a pimple is more than likely.
Yeah, for real. Especially warlocks go to this university who can get disguise self as at will. So it's probably not unusual. Like other people are doing exactly this to change their physical appearance for like cosmetic reasons.
The fact that they can just assume that my face is just a rack of pimples.
Yeah. The fact that you've cast a spell, ironically, is probably less suspicious than if you hadn't have cast a spell.
That's honestly fair.
Sorry, but yes,
I could be walking around looking like Conan the Barbarian, and people wouldn't bat an eyelid.
He's just on his way to LARP club.
So the grad student's waiting. So that implies, so is Ignatius' door closed?
Yes.
Then.
Is there like an in panel on the door or something?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's sort of slid across to like engaged or like meeting in progress kind of thing.
Okay, so I will whip out of my bag a small amount of powder and a bright red liquid, mix them together, and then in like a little petri dish and slide it under, and it'll be like, it's just like a mini little popping candy type thing, but it also will give off like red smoke that will slowly start to come out. And it used to be something that me and her would do at the, like, when we're causing mischief around the place. So that's kind of like my little calling card to her.
The other grad student watching you mix chemicals and slide it under a professor's door is somewhat taken aback. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10,
Yes.
1 being anonymous and 10 being infamous, where does Misty sit on that scale in this university? Bear in mind, this is a university of weird shit. That is genuinely like a free choice for you to decide for yourself.
Well, I imagine that the association with Nicodemus is well known.
Yeah.
So, like, in terms of Nicodemus and Ignatia, Nicodemus was a colleague of your parents. He is technically your legal guardian, or at least was before you were strictly of age. Most of the raising was done by Ignatia, who, when you first arrived, was about 17.
So I'd say professionally, as in like skill wise.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like outstanding, whether that just be that she didn't apply herself or didn't make it obvious. Because
Yeah.
I've suddenly realised what my intelligence is, and actually it's not middling.
There are some people at this university who are just scraping by.
Genius comes in all shapes and sizes.
I'm certainly in a club of people who have set fire to parts of the building.
Note it. Okay, that is.
Yeah.
I will accept that as an answer. So the dude looks at you and is like, "You know what? I'm just not going to interfere because." And he sort of backs a little way down the corridor so that if Ignatia comes out and is angry at someone mixing chemicals and like, he is not going to be guilty by association.
Gotcha. Seeing him do that, I will then kind of physically direct Will to sit down right next to the door, like where the kid was sitting, and then I'll sit further down so you are now closest to the door, and I'll just sit.
And I think it's only going to take a couple of rounds for her to notice the red smoke spilling from under the door.
Yeah.
And you hear, "Thank you, Sebastian. That's lovely." And just gives some like last minute advice on whatever dissertation project. You sort of hear he's like doing something with like rune sigils, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then flings the door open and locks eyes with you and goes, "Misty!" And I say a sort of big hug. "Oh, love, it's so good to see you. Please come in. Where's your friends?
Hello. Hi.
That's Mecha Uncle. And then Uncle and Granny are.
And is this? And he points to. "Oh, David, you with? No.
Oh yeah, he's the main firepower of our group.
Okay. David, I'm afraid I'm not going to have to close office hours. If you come back, let's say later this afternoon or tomorrow morning, does that? And just sort of does a bit of her actual job. Come on, come in. You see the most pristine Type A neat office, binders, neat folders.
She has overcorrected. Hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of invites you to sort of sit. There's a pair of chairs in front of the desk, and she sits down at her desk as well.
When the door's closed, I mean, this place, no real sight lines in and everything.
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
in that case,
There is a window, but it is like one window in a massive building.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I will sit down and I will drop the disguise. The books were also hologrammatic.
Excellent.
I love that.
Let's try that one. Sorry, doing music.
Sorry?
Oh, that's a good one, yeah. Right. I'm very glad you're back. That thing we were discussing the other day, is that okay to talk about in front of your friend here?
Yeah.
Right, so had a word with Julius. I've submitted all the forms of your data and your student number and everything. Basically, he's got a couple of slots free over the next couple of days. I figured you'd be arriving around this time, so if you want to basically just pop along to the office. Do you know where it is? Enabling Services?
Remind.
She'll give you some directions. It's within this building.
Yeah.
Basically just pop along, make an appointment. Someone will be able to see you within the next couple of days. So, that having been said, Misty Turner.
I'm back.
You're back. Yes. That brings me on to the other half of... I've had to go at bat for you quite a lot with the administration. You're not being expelled. I have managed to wrangle it so you're on a compassionate leave sabbatical.
Oh, okay.
So basically your studies are being deferred by a year.
So I've got a year to find them and get back if I want to continue my studies.
Yes. You've got a year and then you've got to come back. Otherwise your studies will be terminated.
And then I'll have to start from the beginning.
You'd have to reapply and see if they'd accept you to study again.
Okay.
What's the exact date that you would need to be back by?
Basically a year on from... you've got about 9 months. Because that was... You've been out about 3 months, and she's counting it from the day you left. Okay. As in, that's when you had like a sudden compassionate leave illness kind of thing, and then you're counting from there.
Can I not defer it for an extra year or something? I just think it's going to take me a good few months to get back out onto the front line anyway. I mean, just...
I know what you meant, Misty.
Just the coast. Definitely not going near a war zone.
Yeah, of course. By the way, there is an owl on a perch, just staring at you with cold, sightless eyes. Hoot. Hoot. The owl sort of looks at Ignatia, swivels up. Look, I had to pull some favours to get it this far.
And I appreciate that, I do, but I've got a new lead now. We unlocked, or gained access.
Dad was raving about a crystal?
Yes. Can't disclose exactly how I got it, that'll make Granny unhappy. But, not dangerous, not illegal, just... What was the word she used? Blasphemous.
Basically, press X to doubt is the face you're getting there. Like.
Yeah. The boy who cried wolf too many times.
It's not dangerous, honest.
Yeah.
The knowledge itself is not of something dangerous.
Right.
And unless you're involved in a holy war.
Misty, this is one of those times when less is more.
I'd say the less I know, the better, but honestly, I'd really like to know.
We got a crystal that has information on it. Oh, no, the information's fine.
Yeah.
So, we've got advanced, or a level of heightened clearance towards some of the immortal sites. We're hoping that we could use that to try and gain information about where the sites lead back to. It's a genuine lead. We can find out where they've gone.
Okay. Do you know where you're headed? And also, if you got a lead, why are you back in Harlem?
There were pressing matters for other members of our group. And as you had requested that Misty come back to the university, it seemed prudent to all come back together.
See, I'm not.
I'd recommend you'd have a word with your supervisor and possibly be contrite in that meeting.
Hypothetically, if
Could you please define contrite for Misty?
Contrite means basically go and say sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm good at sorry. I've done it loads of times. Like that time that I set fire to the bike shed.
Yep, I remember.
Or when I had to apologise.
I remember that too.
Oh, okay.
How could I forget?
Oh, and then there was that Midsummer's Festival.
Yep,
Oh, you were there.
I was.
Because it was her birthday.
I forget. Were you in the back half or the front half of the costume?
I was not in the costume, darling.
You were in the splash zone.
I was in the splash zone. Aye.
Yeah, sorry. See, I did it again. I did it again. Got it. Contrite. Humble.
That's a good one. Aye.
Humble.
What are you going to do with you, Missy Town? Look, it's lovely to see you, love. So you visited Dad. How long are you going to be in the city?
Don't know exactly. Definitely a few days. As I say, I'm not here just for me. Like, everyone's got business here, and it depends how long.
Okay, well, obviously you and your friends, if you want to come up to the staff club and we'll have dinner at some point, I can meet your friends. You sort of get the implicit, like, I'm going to vet your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
I hope she appreciates the level of trust that I'm showing by actually dropping the disguise.
What are the odds she's seen the wanted posters?
Will looks a bit different from his wanted posters.
But this
He's recognisable.
This is a smart person.
Yes.
not a dumb goon.
She doesn't give any indication she recognises who you are. Like, you were a nobody until about 8 hours before you left the city, and your face doesn't look like the wanted poster. And wanted posters don't
Really
have an exact facsimile of, especially if they're drawn, not photographed. Right.
I'll apologise and ask for an extension. You can meet/vet my friends.
That'd be lovely.
And I'll go speak to the councillor person.
Cool.
Well, in that case, I'd probably do a full introduction.
Ignatian Verdo shakes your hand.
William Turnips-Will.
Oh.
Well, the name on the wanted posters is Harbinger.
It is.
But if she knows her history, maybe.
I mean, it would be pretty.
Really obscure.
I don't know. The Watchmaster or something like that might be.
Yeah, I don't think she rolled well enough to clock that.
It's like in that grey area.
But I would appreciate it if you didn't spread the name about.
And now Missy
Now she knows.
and now Missy will facepalm and go.
You can just sort of see her filing away that statement and that information, but she sort of gives you a small nod.
I will cover my mouth like Ignatius' side and then whisper to you, less is more. Less is more.
How are the turns of table?
Misty, the difference is I'm trying to extend a level of trust to the woman who has had a good hand in raising you.
I did my best. Right.
And I think you've done a fine job with what you had available to you.
Oh, that, like, holy fuck. Like, you, like, okay. The targeting protocol appears on your face. I'm sorry, Mr. Turnips-Will. What do you mean?
I mean, she must have been a handful.
Stop digging. Stop digging.
That's literally what I meant.
Yeah. I guess I think what you've got to appreciate is Misty had a very difficult start in life.
Undoubtedly.
Roll persuasion, I'm going to say.
Misty is now a good foot and a half in her chair.
You can see the owl's little sort of like
27.
Very good. The little partial circles, like they're like a little blue, almost like off signs, but without the line in the owl's
What I mean
eyes.
to say-
just flash to red, and then as you
What I
give
mean
this
to
apology.
say- I apologise for
Yeah.
this. What I mean to say is that Misty is very exuberant,
Rambunctious.
rambunctious, and I can only imagine that you've been a calming influence on her.
I'll try my best. Yeah.
When
Stop!
I can imagine what she would have been like without your influence, and that scares me a little bit.
Would you like me to go with your shoe so you could put it in your
It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, tremendous fun.
That said,
There's a tiny little
To be honest,
lily on
if you
your
didn't have inspiration at this point,
shoulder. There's a tiny little lily on your shoulder. What are you doing?
Misty, if you need me, give me a call on the mirror. Otherwise, I'll see you when you come for dinner, right?
I'm just going to say I and my friends will do our best to look after Misty. I was going to say that.
Cool. Okay, so we're probably rounding out like 6 o'clock or so. Is it 10 o'clock finish or
10:30.
10:30? Cool.
I think I got the natural number.
Yeah. That was hilarious though. Just everywhere. Stop.
One more thing.
Yeah, we're probably around about 6 o'clock. Are you guys heading back to Augustine's to sort of reconvene?
I think so, yeah. That's
I'll do some shopping on the way back.
That's what I was gonna say because, like, in addition to like the like equipment shopping, Augustine's apartment or Augustine's little house is. Do you know when you like arrive in an Airbnb or something and there's actually nothing in the cupboards? There's no like it's like you might arrive in an Airbnb and like there's like a pint of milk in the fridge or something, but this is just full bare cupboards. There's nothing in there.
This seems like it's like a brand new property.
Yeah, almost. It's sort of a little sterile, even though there are like affectations someone does live here. It was like dust sheeted, so there is like furniture and belongings here. But certainly the cupboards are all bare. So yeah, you pick up like bits of food in the market. Like again, completely hand wave that.
Also, I did wear the student disguise on the way back.
Perfect. Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, so you all reconvene at Augustine's apartment. Augustine, looking, I imagine, a little somber.
Yeah, I think so.
And Misty, I don't know, Misty looking energized or chastised. So I assume you will have made those. I don't know how much of the sort of stuff you want to role play of the meeting with like the people in the university.
So the actual counsellor bit probably might do that out of session.
Yeah. Give me some descriptors of your thesis supervisor.
Okay, so
I'll start you off unimpressed.
Yes. So learning from Will's mistakes.
Less is more.
Yeah, less is more. So
If I dig up, maybe I can get out.
yeah. No, she'll try her best at a genuine apology.
Yeah.
And acknowledge the effort that Ignatia went into getting me this far.
Yeah, that's like honestly the lion's share of it, to be honest.
Yeah. And then extenuating circumstances.
And that's their laugh.
Yeah.
For sure. In terms of the meeting with Julius, lovely turtlenecked dude, sort of short, like black hair, looks very much like my Danish psychologist Lars. Shout out Lars Hansen of the Early Intervention Psychosis Service, big fucking up. And your panic die increases to a d6.
Yay.
Sort of recommends a regimen of apothecary herbs, and says take them with meals before bed because you'll get sleepy,
Cool.
etc. and sort of talks you through a few of the like basic CBT exercises effectively.
Cool.
You know, the count to 5. You know, name 5 things you can. You know the fucking deal.
Yeah.
Right?
So in that case, by the time we get to, I want to call you Lucius, but
Augustine.
I don't know where that name came from.
I do.
Different reality.
Yeah. By the time we get to Augustine's, she's just wiped out and will probably fall asleep very quickly.
Cool. Yeah. So I was saying, like, Augustine's cupboards are all sort of a bit bare. It's like when you get into a hotel, like a guest house or an Airbnb or something. Like, there's not much of the food, so you picked up like supplies on the way home.
Yeah, I've been out months, so like, there's nothing.
I think what happens is we both pick up supplies on the way
That's
home.
probably true.
And then we're just like,
oh, now we've got 2 boxes of Cocoa Pops. Go on. Yeah.
Maybe you could use something like more treats.
maybe more cookies. That's lovely. I'll make some cookies.
You can get real eggs.
I can get
non-lizard eggs.
Non-lizard eggs.
I mean, if you thought Lillian's cookies were good, which they are, with lizard eggs, like wait until you see chicken. Yeah.
Will also rocks back up carrying just a massive bag full of metal.
Is this the stuff for armor, or is this the stuff for the Novem bit armor? Cool.
I don't know. So that I've got a list of people to contact for that.
Yes, indeed.
But that's more of a daytime thing.
For sure.
This was just like a stop off at somewhere to get the appropriate metals on the way back.
This is very much the feeling of when you arrive in a city where you are on holiday and you sort of like, hey, what do we do now? We haven't got any events until tomorrow, so now we've got like a weird half afternoon. But yeah. What are the plans? What are the discussions that are going on?
So what are we doing tomorrow then?
What have we got left to do? Your place?
You want me to check out?
I would like you specifically to check out my place because I gather that you've got a bit more insight into the kinds of people that might be watching my place.
And given what you said earlier, this is the island itself will have like people will notice if you're looking around at night, right? As opposed to...
It depends. So there's a lot of it, to be honest. You know the kind of, if you wear a fluorescent vest, you can get anywhere? A lot of it's attitude. Do you act like you belong? Do you feel like... The stealth checks here are not, can I go unseen in the night? It's, can I look like I belong here?
Probably better to do that in the day.
Probably be.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, your place, and then the lady.
Cool. In that case, you guys bed down in the midst of a city, and it's weird, the noise when you first come into a city, the noise of the carts, and the fact there's street lights all the time, and you can't see the stars anymore because there's just that soft hum of street lights that pisses the fuck out of bats. And so that was my inner biologist coming out there. And you bed down for the first time, for some of you in a long time, in nearly a year, in the comforting bosom of civilization. What does everyone dream about tonight? Anyone?
I think Lily's dreams are full of just this random cavalcade of faces that she remembers talking to and speaking to, and all of them saying, I haven't seen them. Can't help you. All these kinds of things. And then there's this thing at the end of it where there's this one person who she had a funny feeling on, and she just can't remember their face, and it's nothing.
Baller inspiration.
Yeah.
Augustine?
As somber as the afternoon was, I think that what comes with that is a sense of relief. And I think...
Sort of almost catharsis and
closure.
closure.
Exactly. Yeah. I think because of that, he has one of his most peaceful night's sleep he's had in a while.
Misty?
Pure unconsciousness.
Just knackered.
Combination of the day's events and the
You started
newly
on
acquired
Apothecary
apothecaries.
herbs.
Yeah. Dead to the world.
For sure. Yeah, like you guys also get the chance to like sit down and have a meal, and like Lily is cooking in a kitchen with food, and this is not campfire. What is it like for you guys as a group to sit down in this weird family dynamic almost of like sitting at a kitchen table, and it's some of it is remarkable in its oddness, in that it can be remarked on in its incongruity in a normal D&D setting to be able to do this and sit down with cutlery and not be eaten from a mess tin over a smoky fire. Yeah, I like the image.
Yeah, there's, even though it hasn't been that long, like a few months I guess, but you forget about the comforts and things like that, and it's weirdly relaxing.
Yeah.
Like
Will is eating with his elbows like fully out, as he's not used to eating with cutlery with his current bulk.
For sure.
Nor is he used to eating with people beside him.
Do you know what the scene kind of reminds me of? There's I think it's at the end of Avengers: Age of Ultron.
What, with the shawarma?
Yeah, with the shawarma.
Fair.
There's obviously not quite as wrecked, but just
We've got a nice companionable silence going on.
Yeah.
One of my favourite foreign words is Essenstille, which is the quiet that falls over a dinner table when everyone is slightly too busy eating to talk.
I love that there's a word for that.
Yeah, a very compact word. It's just food silence in
Would
German.
never go with my family because we're always
Yakking.
yakking.
Yeah.
Speak by name, speak by nature.
It's like, I could say something, but also, food. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, the night passes.
There are if anyone wakes up at any point, there are some odd noises coming from wherever Will is.
Outstanding. Yeah, you sort of go into a broom closet with something more insulated, so you're not going to wake people up. Sweet. Yeah. You. I'm going to switch back to this one, which is a bit less dreamy.
Oh, it's night time. Hang on.
It's about to be daytime.
Never mind, I won't change it.
Dawn in the city. There is the sights and smells and sounds of a beautiful, sunny coastal city. There's a fresh, salty breeze of the sea. Like you can absolutely see right down that sort of scooping downhill towards beautiful crystal blue ocean, like seeing like the Atlantic or the Pacific, because that's 2,000 miles to Ulster, baby. There's nothing out there. There's beautiful like tall ships, even a few of the new like artificer powered engine ships that don't have the sails and look weird to sort of the eye of people who were around before you could get around without before you could get around without a sail. What's the day hold for you guys?
My disguise today is going to be that of a legitimate businessman.
A legitimate businessman.
A legitimate businessman!
How is your business, sir? Legitimate.
Definitely not a cop.
Yeah, I'm not a cop. Excellent.
Is your place likely to get us into a lot of trouble if we go looking at it?
I am unsure.
Right.
If people notice us being interested in it, they may become interested in us.
There is a smidgen chance that if we go anywhere near the ladies' chambers, we will get into trouble. So, given we're going to get into trouble, which regardless, I'd rather go there first.
Very well, let us go there first.
Inspiration, you fucker.
What have you done?
I like my business like I like my children. Legitimate.
Absolute fucker.
So, yeah, Lady Chambers last, I reckon, because that's going to cause trouble.
It is going to cause trouble, but if Will's thing causes trouble, then we'll never get to the ladies' chambers. And if we don't get to the ladies' chambers, I'm going to come out of my skin.
to ladies'
We need to,
chambers.
we need to get to the ladies' chambers regardless.
Then
That should be our priority.
let's go there now.
I would like to at least swing by my place.
I mean, yours is probably on the way. Actually, no. You would have to go past. If you're going Kingsbridge or Queensbridge, you would have to go past the Lady Chambers, the Chambers Mansion, to get to your old house. Realistically, actually, you would have come vaguely through the area the Chambers Mansion is on the way, because you would have come up the People's Bridge to Beauregard's house, and then probably would have come round the edge over the Queen's
We would
Bridge
have
up to
seen
yours.
it and seen the huge
Yeah.
compound and then gone.
Its compound is a great word for it. The late General Chambers was a military dude, like old school travelling military dude.
Yeah.
So compound is a good word.
Okay.
Have we given any thought as to how we might be gaining access to the ladies' chambers?
I'm going to lie. A lot.
I gathered that would be the case. So I was just wondering if you had a specific plan for the kind of lie, don't you know?
Something along the lines of, we knew your husband before he died, and one of his soldiers specifically. Kernel of truth in there. Should do some good.
The best lie does contain a nugget of the truth.
And we wanted to ask her some questions about her husband.
A little cat hair in the microphone.
Yes, it gets everywhere.
Okay, so you guys head over the Queen's Bridge again, past around the edge of the Mansion District. This is your old stomping grounds completely. As you go like round the corner of Governor's Hill, you can see actually the old watch office up on the current watch office, but your old place of employment, and the same sandwich cart you went to every day for 15 years or something. And yeah, you can see you're coming up your very familiar old stomping grounds. You're on your road, and you can see the townhouse that you own, or at least did. There is a for sale sign outside it. It is like not quite a foreclosed, because that would imply like debt, but can I get insight from anybody who wants to? I think you can have advantage, weirdly.
That is a nat 20.
It's a nat 20.
Am I presumed dead?
In that case, yeah, not. It looks like someone might have declared you dead, or had you declared dead. Quite who that might be is a different question, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30.
Fuck me. Okay.
It's an insight.
Someone has had him declared legally dead.
Yeah.
And no one seems to be arguing with it because his house is being sold. I don't know why you would be familiar with the intricacies of the Harlan legal system.
Because of the dead bit.
Because of the dead bit, of course, that's why. Yeah, you have guided people through legal. Even like when you were in the city, you weren't spending every waking moment. Like you were doing your duty as a cleric of death.
Yeah.
Basically, what would happen if someone is declared dead is their property would go to any kind of so that like their belongings and finances would be distributed among any findable heirs. Any property not claimed would be sold off and the funds transferred. If the heirs can't be found at all, it would be transferred to the city effectively. And yeah, looks like your house is fully up for sale.
Maybe we should find an estate agent at some point.
I am going to go pee real quick again. I'm really sorry about that number.
It's okay.
Can we communicate, not telepathically, but is there a sub-vocal thing that we have?
I mean, Will can communicate without even without that.
But what I was going to say, and I don't want to say this out loud, but it's probably a good thing, right?
Being
Actually, I'm going to make a wisdom saving throw, just to try and avoid reacting with outrage.
Spiels.
Oh no. Okay, that's a 13. What does a 13 mean?
Keep that. Keep
A 13 means I'm rolling with disadvantage.
that. Keep that.
Still with a 13.
I got 17 on insight, so
That's from
depends
that.
if I see it. So you're outraged at that.
I
meant as in, if they think you're dead, they're going to stop looking for you, right?
No, they needed him to be dead to secure the position of the new Watchmaster.
Mm-hmm.
They can still go looking, hence the wanting posters outside of that.
Yeah, if they thought that I was dead, why would there be wanted posters out there?
So from a business perspective, he's legally dead.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the gang, through back channels, are then trying to find him to make sure that he's
Make
dead.
sure.
I mean, the gang could have done this to try and draw me out of hiding because
Well,
they're,
that's what-
they're cutting off my resources kind of thing. But yeah, Joe,
Oh,
I gave myself a wisdom saving throw with disadvantage.
Mm.
Got a 13,
Mm-hmm.
which
Where is it there?
there is a small level of outrage there.
Yeah, you'd be pissed. That's understandable.
Yeah. Like, and it's not even from a materialistic point of view. It's that's his home,
yeah.
but also that's his wife's home.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so there's a cross businessman in the street across from the old Turnipswell home, or the old Harbinger home, I should say. Yeah, you there is, by the way, a name of an estate agent who is responsible for.
Oh yeah, taking
selling
that,
it.
taking
Yeah,
a note
yeah.
of that name.
For real. Okay, are you guys heading up to the
Lily is in the front. She's
Mhm.
like, "You've got what you need, ready? Yeah, go.
Cool.
Yes, I shall be visiting an estate agent later if we get the
How
time.
close to it did we get?
What,
Uh,
my
to-
place.
to-
Yeah.
We walk past it.
We all passed it. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a full street, like a whole street. Like, yeah,
Can't roll perception to see if there's anyone sort of.
absolutely.
That would be a 9.
Not that you can see. There's no obvious like gang tags or signs or colours anywhere. This is more speaking to your skill set rather than your like sensory input. You get the feeling that right after Will, people like suspected. So after Will disappeared, everyone thought, yeah, he's been blown up in the boat. Sure. Then someone who looked a bit like him started showing up in the Outlands. But any possible sightings of a living William Turnipswell have been hundreds of miles away. So if it were you and you were trying to catch someone, no one has actually sighted William Turnipswell in the city. So you probably wouldn't put a guard here. Like you'd be sending parties out to ask questions in the outland towns and villages, which you have seen evidence of. Yeah. Cool. You walk up to the Manse district. You're sort of strolling along through the it's like nice sunny sort of cobbled streets, and it's quite sort of like it's fresh and it's a very different kind of heat to the desert, the baking dust bowl. This is sort of coastal Greece kind of fresh winds. And you walk up the cobbled streets. They start to get wider. They start to become the avenues, the tree-lined avenues, and the street lamps stop being just plain artificial orbs and start to be like wrought iron. Things are fancy here, fancy. Carriages are going by, but the carriages aren't going by on their own anymore. They're going by with another smaller carriage with guards, and the watch has their nicely uniformed and pressed uniformed officers in this area of the city. And you know roughly where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you sight the chambers, as you so rightly said, compound. It's a 30-foot wall, like iron spiked. This isn't like budget glass and cement to stop people coming over, but there's a method to stop people coming over. It's spiked wall. You can see there is a full closed gate. But when I say closed gate, I don't mean it's shut. I mean it is flush with the wall, and then parts of it open inwards. And yeah, there is also a guard station outside with a couple of people sort of uniformed, but not like they don't have like a sigil or anything. They're just uniformed.
Yeah.
Can I get let's say history, insight, something like that? Pick a skill close to those thematically.
Let's do insight. Do you remember how I said 30 last time?
Yeah.
This is natural 20.
Yeah, so 32.
31.
31. Fuck me. Okay, so to get my notes up, you just have this for a bit.
Just airdrop it right to him.
Yeah.
Do I get anything extra because I got an 11?
20 less, you say? A whole maximum on a d20 left. So, the guards standing outside, I'm going to tell you some things about them.
Sure.
They look very efficient. Very... Can anyone beat a 31, by the way?
Does that one beat a...
Boy doesn't it.
How many d20s am I allowed to
So, cool. Fantastic. So yeah, they look very efficient, very disciplined. They are barely even like moving, in that sort of Queen's Guard kind of way. They are also, you can tell they're Travoldian. They probably came with the family. They're very pale, and like the black hair that comes from the forest. They are wearing very thick leather armor, and it comes with like a full cowl as well.
Jesus.
So the discipline these guys must have is incredible to be wearing that in this. And there are two of them. They aren't really speaking to each other. They're just sort of standing either side of the gate.
So before we get there, I will turn to the three of you and go, if I sense that there's a hint that any of these people have anything to do with my grandchildren and have absconded with them, there's a high chance I will lose most of my judgment skills very quickly. And I have prepared spells today I don't normally do.
Oh, baby!
If they have something to do with it, then we will help you extract any information.
Thank you.
Just maybe be aware that if we are too obvious about things and too hasty, we may lose any kind of lead that might be available.
And that's why you're going to take the lead on talking to the guards first.
Very well. Holographic suitcase in hand.
Cool. You get maybe sort of 20 feet, and then they sort of stamp the spear butts and say, "Halt!"
I hold.
Yeah?
Good. It's the morning, isn't it?
Morning, yeah. At 10 a.m.
Good morning. I am a solicitor representing the offices of Bramble and Turnwell.
Okay. Is that a lie?
Yes!
Could I get a deception roll? Cool.
That's a 27.
Bloody. Nice. Yeah, so you are a lawyer representing, yeah. Do you have an appointment?
No, I was hoping to make an appointment.
Yeah.
There are some matters of a personal nature regarding the unfortunate demise of the General Chambers and some men under his command.
Yeah.
I was seeking an audience with the Lady Chambers to address these discrepancies.
Yeah. You will need to talk to the lady's personal majordomo.
Where might I be able to locate the lady's majordomo?
Sort of reaches in. Basically, they're both in, like full like Buckingham Palace style. They got little like box, so they're like in the shade. Lisa basically rings pulls a cord, and you hear a bell ring like in the house, and then goes back to sort of this very sort of mechanical guard position. And yeah, there's a bloke basically steps. You see, they open the gates. A bloke steps out. He's sort of like quite lank, like a mid-length black hair. Again, very Travoldian features. He's wearing like it's not a butler's uniform. He's higher ranked than a butler. Right. Says, good morning.
Good morning. I am a solicitor here representing the... already forgotten what bloody offices I was saying I was representing. Bramble and Turnwell.
Yeah.
Cool.
Representing the offices of Bramble and Turnwell. Wishing to speak to the Lady Chambers regarding some discrepancies following the unfortunate demise of the General Chambers and the men under his command.
Discrepancies, you'll say?
Yes, this is not something for the middle of the street.
Could I perhaps take a card to pass on to the lady?
I was unprepared for this.
I was unprepared for this. What do I know about your business cards?
I don't think you've seen one of my business cards. I don't know. Has he seen one disappear?
I think probably at this point. He's also kind of eyeing each of, just giving a casting a glance across very casually.
I'm having the symbol front and center, so there's like a clear reason for me to be here.
Buddy. Yeah, cool.
I apologise for my compatriot. He might have forgotten his cards. You may have one of mine. I represent the finances of the situation.
Yeah, very good. It sort of brings out like a little silver pocketbook, kind of like clasp thing, and just places the... Yeah, I will pass this on to the lady. Of course, the Lady Chambers is in mourning, as are her daughters. I cannot promise a speedy... what do you call it? Sorry.
Audience?
Speedy audience, but I will certainly pass it on. You say you are looking to resolve matters arising from the death of the General Chambers. You have come from the battlefront?
From... Was it Fort Morgan? Right, Morgan. From Fort Morgan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I slipped back into the right accent there. From Fort Morgan. You may have heard of the miraculous recovery of Messer Carter Garland.
Can I get a general insight check?
20.
27.
Buddy, you're fucking me.
She is so
laser
focused on this guy of like, if you move or twitch wrong, you're going to die in the street.
Yeah. So you probably Carter Garland is the only bit of this conversation he's found interesting. Like otherwise, like you guys lied very well, and despite the fact you're slightly motley crew, including a pink-haired teenager, like work experience or something, like.
Material witness.
Well, like, if it was a boring call about finances, it's something he'd probably be expecting. But it being Carter Garland is more interesting to him than...
Could I also, as part of my performance, avoid looking at Lillian in a way that he might notice I'm trying to avoid, whilst talking about this, looking at the grave cleric?
Yeah, for sure.
Just to try and get that bit more intriguing.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Very, very good. I will pass this on to the lady. I can reach you at your offices, yeah?
Yeah.
Very good. Good day.
Wait,
I would...
that would be real boring. You don't want to... You're not interested in the finance stuff, are you? Do you want to hear some stories? Because I was there.
I look, yeah.
Roll
I
deception.
Think
That genie's out the bottle, my friends. Roll deception.
I thought we were trying to get in.
No.
Ooh. 17.
Ooh.
17.
I'm going to say, Misty, this is not a discussion for the street. Well, please keep the information that you hold
And I look
in confidence.
at him and I go, this is a matter of grave importance, and I'd like it to be resolved quickly. And I kind of like move my hand over the symbol really like obviously to him.
I need to have a hot 15 to like.
So,
There's a lot at play here, is what I will say.
If you're having a hot 15,
Yeah.
that would take us to beyond half.
I was talking about
past.
seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I am attempting to weave a tapestry that I am the character I'm playing is perfectly happy to wait. This grave cleric is not. But I'm being a respectable businessman.
and I'm also here.
Please, wait here. And yeah, steps back inside.
I look pleasantly surprised.
Cool. And yeah, he has gone maybe 10 minutes, and yeah, the guards are just standing there, like mechanically staring straight ahead. They're not really even barely blinking, to be honest.
I look very professional, and I'm barely blinking as well, barely moving.
Cool.
As only a robot can.
Cool. Yeah, a couple of minutes go by, and the Major Domo appears. My lady will take your audience in her office. Please follow me.
Thank you, Didi.
Much obliged.
And yeah, you follow in. The gardens are just beautiful and like bright blood red roses, and it's like hideously expensive to keep in. There are a couple of horses, like big like destrier horses stabled within the walls of this sort of like complex. And the house itself is this big sort of like faux Trowalding Gothic mansion. Like beautiful like dark stonework and vaults and gargoyles and things. Looks, I don't know if any of you have been to the Trowald. Whether I think you grew up in Ulster, you're Ulsterian for sure. Will Ulsterian, Misty, born and raised in Poland. So yeah, if any of you had been to the Trowald, this is that kind of vibe. Yeah, and you step in through this front door as the Major Domo shows you through. There's like a big sort of like Titanic style double staircase going up to the first landing. Big ass portrait of the late, what you surmise to be the late General Chambers. Sort of one hand on a rapier hilt. Can I get a perception check from Yarls generally?
22.
15, I think.
8.
15.
4.
Yeah, he looks handsome, sort of. Maybe this portrait was like when he was painted when he was younger, because you got the vibe he was older than he is in this portrait. And yeah, the Major Domo leads you sort of up the staircase and into onto a small landing. Knocks on the door. My lady, come. And the door sort of creaks into the study. The Lady Chambers is sitting within, sort of still in like you're aware, especially the Trowaldians take mourning like serious.
Yeah.
So she's still in black, has sort of a veil over the head, is wearing like a big maybe like an engagement ring or something on one of her fingers that is like big sort of red crystal in it. And is sort of sat in almost like a balcony chair, but the chair itself is inside, but she's sort of sat looking out, drinking basically a glass of something red. Day drinking for days. And says, "What do you want?"
Is the Major Domo still here?
Yeah, he's so basically he closes the door behind you all and sort of stands sort of ready to serve.
Any guards?
There are guards fully throughout the...
In this room specifically?
No. There are guards throughout the complex.
Yeah.
Like, very sort of like clone trooper. They all kind of look the same, and they're all wearing the big heavy cowls and the What do you want?
May I approach Deary?
Please.
I approach and get close enough so that the Majordomo can't hear. Is your Majordomo to be trusted about very sensitive...
Odita is to be trusted implicitly.
Even about information about the dead rising?
Gives you a funny look. And
Like,
eyes
like
flick
the-
to the
it's like,
symbol.
oh, no, this is... Oh, she's not... She maybe not messing with me.
Dita is certainly part of the inner circle.
Very well.
What do you want?
That is a complicated question, dear. What I am here for, though, in this specific circumstances, to understand the circumstances directly relating to your late husband's passing. Because what happened afterwards got very complicated and involved myself and the people I specifically work for.
Yeah?
So, what happened? Do you know of any... Do you know of the mission that he was on?
Certainly there's recognition in the eyes and also pain. And, I mean, she clearly loved the guy. This is actual loss. She's not putting the mourning on... Travelodians do mourning seriously, and this was clearly a very long and happy marriage.
Yeah.
Maybe not so long. She looks. Maybe she's about like 35.
Yeah.
How old was General Chambers?
He married young.
General Chambers. Roll me history, I guess, because he's part of history now.
17.
No.
He was a decorated war hero before he came to Volan, and he was like second wave, like where you were. So he's got to be in his 50s or 60s. Sorry, I've got a
Quick.
Yeah.
Just a quick question to the group. What do we think about just saying the prophecy to her?
Oh.
I mean, I love it, but I don't want to go rogue again. So
I'm happy for people to
Less is more. Less is more.
I mean, Will is going to clip open his hologrammatic briefcase,
Yep.
pull out some hologrammatic paper,
Yep.
and
I'm gonna ask for an Arcana check at this point because you're doing things way outside of the. This is sort of trying to balance disguise self and minor illusion at the same time.
You're right. Okay, I misread it, and like I said, I won't do it that way. I will just look up as if I'm trying to remember something, and then just go, my lady, do the words, "You have lost, and those lost now sleep among the dead, but may yet be saved," mean anything to you?
I've not heard these words before.
I mean, that's specifically mentioning her.
Yeah.
I think that's tipping our hand if I keep going.
You mentioned my husband.
You did.
Dita mentioned that you were there. Would you care to elaborate?
yes, I did say that. No, sorry. Okay, so this is probably very late timing, but this is the guy we transported in the coffin, right?
No.
This is the guy who was there
As his boss.
as his boss.
They died at the same time.
Okay,
As
yes.
we transported the coffin body back, the general's body presumably lost in the front lines.
I'm aware of time. I'll be wrapping up in a second.
Okay.
Doing some dumb thing.
Okay. So, can I flash a look towards both? Well, towards you all.
I think
She is expecting an answer. This is sort of a quick time event for you.
Yeah. Just to get confirmation. Okay, so
That's a number.
I was on special operations during the peace talks. When it all went wrong. Yeah, my magic was no good, and he was lost.
So it appears you not only let a child speak to, but a lying child nonetheless. What do you want?
Sorry, Granny.
It's right, dearie. I'm here to speak to you. My friend over there, he started a prophecy, but didn't finish one. The rest of it has to do with you.
Yeah.
We're supposed to seek out your lady's chambers. And you are the lady's chambers. And we know your husband was doing something that somebody didn't like.
Sorry, this is DM thinking.
That's right.
I'm just, for the sake of brevity, not because you're gonna roll fucking great on insight. When you say ladies,
Yeah.
that sort of, you get a little dark flash in her eyes. I repeat my question. What do you want?
As one mother to another, I want my grandchildren back.
Now I will call for an insight.
I'm rolling it too.
Is that enough, or do I roll the inspiration?
You've got the
You've got session inspiration.
You've got the session inspiration.
Might
That's
as well burn it. It's
Well,
going to be.
that
It's
will
going to be
expire.
fully the last roll of the
Okay.
session. So
27.
you see what I meant? You say we want my grandchildren back. A definite light of recognition of, like, not necessarily, like, you don't think she knows who your grandchildren are, but she kind of gets what you're, or recognize something about the situation.
Right.
I'm keeping an eye on the Major Domo.
Oh, fuck yeah, roll insight. Divide and conquer.
22.
Ooh, okay, you're gonna get more, I think. I think what you see is, like, his eyes flash to her, like, questioning, and she sort of dismisses it. I do not know your grandchildren.
I inside check that.
Cool.
21.
A 3/4 truth. She doesn't know your grandchildren, know who the fuck you are.
She doesn't know my grandchildren.
Yeah.
The 2 children with horns, one alabaster skin, one like lilac. And I know you know something, dearie. And I am not a person you want to be making angry in this space. And my eyes start turning black and wings. Like, she's just angry now.
I think our business is concluded. Please get out of my house.
I cast Suggestion on the Major Domo,
Yeah.
and I suggest that he lies down, closes his eyes, and doesn't move for about 8 minutes.
Buddy.
Oh, she also needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, so
For
she...
fear.
Okay. I need to... This is going to get real fucking hot for you guys very shortly. That is a 21.
On the saving throw.
And a 27.
Okay, that succeeds, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. 21 and 27
Yeah.
on wisdom saves. Okay, No, I can't use inspiration that way to make them reroll.
Destiny.
No.
You've all got destiny points.
Yeah. But
We-
that's for their... You can't roll
Yeah,
decimal
yeah,
for
yeah.
their saves. I think what we are going to do is... They fully clock that you just tried to use magic. Suggestion doesn't normally allow that.
Doesn't normally allow what then?
Doesn't allow you to... You don't usually know anything has happened if you fail
Right.
suggestion.
Correct, yeah. But there's a...
But they know you've cast a spell.
Not necessarily. Suggestions is
necessarily.
one of the rare exceptions where its verbal component is the suggestion you cast. is the concession you take. So it's like,
Cool. I think what I'm going to do is just call it there.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because
no, 2 weeks of stress.
I now need to go away and make maps that I didn't make before. And you guys are fucked.
Yeah. Pros, we had no other leads.
But we could have walked out.
yeah, we could have walked out.
Any moment.
Yeah.
At least I know what.
Yeah, we would have
Okay,
walked out without any leads.
this is stressful for you. For me, this means I know what to plan now. I'm going to stop recording now.